we'll be here ready to go.
Poppy goes big fly.
Jose put his back in the race.
Swing a high fly ball, right center field. It is gone, and the Rays survive to play another game.
Tropicana Field, St. Petersburg, Florida. We welcome you. This series continues. ALDS coverage on CBS, presented by T-Mobile. Game 4 tonight, the Boston Red Sox, the winners of the American League East, and up 2-1 in this series against the Tampa Bay Rays. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from St. Petersburg. Brian Anderson along with John Smoltz and Joe Simpson. We'll hear from Rachel Nichols in a moment as well. Thrilling finish last night. One of the great finishes in postseason baseball history. It was Jose Lobaton, Joe, who delivered the walk-off home run. And the Rays, for the 4th time in the last 9 days, stave off elimination.
He came in the 8th inning in a double switch. It was his only at-bat of the night against Koji Uehara, the closer for the Red Sox. The first walk-off home run in postseason history for the Rays. He missed the first split-finger pitch, but he got another one in exactly the same place. He didn't miss this one. He became the first Rays player to hit a ball in the tank in deep right center. That's not a cheapie. The first home run out by Uehara since June 30th, and the Rays are still alive.
Yeah, the Rays see one more day, and now they're hoping to move this series to Boston with a win tonight. Meanwhile, John, the Red Sox are trying to close out Tampa Bay. They're going to give the ball to Jake Peavy, Jeremy Hellickson on the mound for Tampa Bay. And you've got two guys on the opposite end of the personality spectrum.
Yeah, you really do. If these two guys had engines, Jake Peavy's going to be revving his. It's high motor, high intensity. He needs to keep it from the RPM reading the red, and I think for Hellickson, it's more of an idling engine, and he's going to allow himself to really be a feel and touch pitcher. Both guys have to do different things. For Jake Peavy, he's got to come down a notch. For Jeremy Hellickson, he's got to come up just a little bit.
If Boston wins, they advance to the American League Championship Series. If Tampa Bay wins, we head to Boston Thursday. Game 4 coming up next.
Send this series back to Boston with a bang. So get up, Rays fans. Shout out for your maniac crew. It's time to get loud. I can't hear you. People are crazy. Looks like everyone. These are real beats of the East. That is the Rays against the Red Sox.
Just about ready for baseball tonight from Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. The Red Sox leading in this series 2-1. Tampa Bay winning for the first time last night in dramatic fashion. And as is always the case here at the Trop, we talk about the catwalks, the C&D rings. In fair territory on the outfield side, it's a home run. If it strikes in foul territory, it's immediately a dead ball. The ring that is struck the most is the B ring, and it's about 170 feet high around home plate. We saw that twice last night. If it's in foul territory, it is a foul ball and a dead ball, but the umpire's judgment, if it is in fair territory, you play it. It's a live ball, and that is always a story. It's one of the quirks of Tropicana Field. Saw it twice last night, and it could come into play once again tonight. And they've got a sellout crowd here at the Trop. Baseball lives on at least one more day after the dramatic finish last night, and a new star was born in Jose Lobaton. Has 2 walk-off home runs in his entire life. They have come in the last 2 months. Jose Lobaton, and the one last night, extending this division series to a Game 4. And there is Jeremy Hellickson. And John, you talked about a guy who is a pretty calm, demeanored personality, perhaps needing to pitch up to the intensity of this ball game tonight.
Yeah, just a little bit. He's got a poker face when he's on the mound. He looks like cool, calm, and collected, but he hasn't been that way lately. It's been a struggle for him in the second half. And so what I mean about that RPM, pitching to the moment, you've got to allow yourself to still be able to throw the changeup and curveball, but be firm with your fastball. Jeremy Hellickson's not going to be given a ton of opportunity to figure it out tonight, so he's got to come out and pitch like a closer in the first inning.
Jeremy Hellickson leads the Rays out onto the field here at the Trop. And we welcome you coming over from the Athletics and the Tigers. Detroit moving that series back to Oakland. We are just about set for baseball as the Rays and the Red Sox for Game 4 with Boston leading 2-1. And here is the batting order brought to you by T-Mobile for John Farrell's Red Sox. Top of the order, Jacoby Ellsbury, Shane Victorino, and then Dustin Pedroia. Ortiz, Napoli, and Nava in the middle with Saltalamacchia, Drew, and Middlebrooks rounding it out. Ellsbury's had a great series with 8 hits and hitting .378 in his career in divisional series play. And John, there is Jeremy Hellickson making just his second career start in the postseason. Last one came in 2011 against the Texas Rangers, and he's trying to extend the Rays season.
Yeah, and if his early signs of struggling is if he pitches away from contact, that's going to be a bad sign for Tampa. Look, this series has been all about offense so far, but this game is going to be about pitching, and it could be a lot of pitching, meaning a lot of guys pitching in this game out of the pen for both teams.
And Joe Simpson, let's take a look at the Rays defensively, and that has been a bit of a story in this series. They've been a little shaky.
They had one of the best defenses in all of baseball during the regular season, but they've had some mistakes in this series, especially in the first 2 games in Boston. But a good, speedy outfield with DeJesus back out in left field. Longoria, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney. That's been the foursome on the infield for all of the starts. Jose Lobaton, after the game-winning home run last night, gets the start for Hellickson behind the plate.
And that is a bit of news because Jose Molina has a better catcher's earned run average with Hellickson on the mound. But, Joe, I can't imagine a scenario when a guy has a moment like that you don't put him back in the starting lineup.
It'd be hard not to put him in there. He's riding a good streak here, swinging the bat. But when you look at the numbers, Brian, with respect to the ERAs for Hellickson, Molina's is two-plus runs better when he catches Hellickson versus Lobaton.
Now Jacoby Ellsbury strides to the plate, and we are just about set for baseball tonight in St. Petersburg. Ellsbury and Victorino have been so good for the Boston Red Sox. Imperative to keep these 2 hitters off the base paths, and the Rays have not had a whole lot of success doing that so far in the first 3 games. Ellsbury and Victorino combining to go 13 for 25 and scoring 8 runs in this series. Crowd's revved up. Hellickson ready to go. And the first pitch of the ball game is on the way. And off and running with a strike call. Paul Immel is the home plate umpire tonight. The crew chief in the 6-man crew is Dana DeMuth. He's out on the right field line.
Be a big pitch for Hellickson. That curveball right there. He's got a real good changeup, and the fastball command, of course, is always a key. But that curveball, slowing down the left-handers from getting out there, is going to be a key. So let's see if he can command that pitch early on in the game.
Hellickson and Peavy opposed each other on September 12th with no decisions. Hellickson has had a long layoff. Last time he pitched was September 27th against Toronto in the regular season, went 4 2/3. Joe Madden actually said the layoff will do him some good, and that's one of the main reasons why he wants him on the mound for this game 4. In the air to right, and Myers will put it away, and Ellsbury is retired.
He needed that rest, though, Brian. Hellickson had a bad second half. He had a real tough time in August and September. His numbers were really up the second half of the season after the All-Star break. He went 4 7 with an ERA over 6. And he admitted that he was a little surprised they didn't pick Archer to start this game instead of him. There are the numbers since July 30th. 2 7 with a 7.15 ERA. So he's got to have that fastball command. He said his problems in the second half were from lack of command, as John pointed out.
Shane Victorino with one away. Pops him up. Longoria calls. 2 outs.
And part of the reason the decision went to Hellickson is he had better options against the left-handed hitters for the Red Sox, where Archer is deadly against right-handers, but his slider got flatter. So a young pitcher with a good firm fastball, but only had real 2 options, and the second one wasn't as good. So this, even though he did not finish strong, has many more options against that left-handers for Boston.
Such a talented lineup for the Red Sox, the team that finished with the best record during the regular season. They won 37 games this year, and they will have the home field advantage throughout the World Series if they make it that far. Boston played a near perfect game in Game 1 on Friday and a 12-2 win. Closer game Saturday at Fenway, but the Red Sox winning that one as well, 7-4. And then the Rays come back and take the first game in their home ballpark last night in dramatic fashion with that Lobatone walk-off. So the series is at 2-1 Boston. A win for the Rays tonight, and it'll push to a Game 5 on Thursday at Fenway. John Farrell hoping the Red Sox can move on to the next round in the American League Championship Series. Ball and a strike to Pedroia, and the curveball is low.
Both managers could probably use a night off from the pressure thinker going, meaning how many decisions did they have to make yesterday? How many tough and crucial second-guessing decisions? Each manager, if they had their wish, would probably like a calmer game.
And a 4-hour and 19-minute ball game last night, so there were a lot of opportunities. And by the way, a 9-inning ball game last night, and a game that ended up in National League for the Rays as Hellickson gets Pedroia out in front with a changeup.
It's a well-disguised changeup. No change in his motion or arm action. Tough on the hitters to pick up.
We talked about the differences in these two pitchers' demeanors. There's going to be a difference in their mechanics, too. Soft mechanics, not soft as in throws the ball soft, very quiet. Goes to the plate, to your point, every arm action should look the same. You're going to see a more aggressive Jake Peavy, guy who gets after it and comes after you, and if he could, would finish 10 feet in front of the batter after he delivered it.
2-2 to Pedroia. Just missed. Hellickson pitches pretty. Is that the right way to put it?
Yeah, that'd be a good call.
Jake Peavy pitches like his hair's on fire.
That's another good call.
Hellickson, 26 years of age, out of Des Moines, Iowa. And both have hardware. Peavy, a former Cy Young Award winner. Hellickson has won a Rookie of the Year award. Payoff pitch coming to Pedroia. And he popped him up. Misses the rings. On its way down for Escobar. Good start for Hellickson. It's brought to you by T-Mobile, and there is Evan Longoria in the cleanup spot tonight. Longoria hit his 9th career postseason home run last night, a 3-run shot, a huge home run to tie the game. Has 5 of his 9 career home runs in the postseason against the Boston Red Sox. Jake Peavy on the mound, big pickup at the trade deadline for the Sox. And he is trying to send Boston to the American League Championship Series.
That he is. He's also coming off a long rest. One of the things, looking at statistics, first pitch, they're only hitting 239 off him, so he's firm on the first pitch. 2-0, 429. So it's key for Jake Peavy to get out ahead, control his emotions, throw strike 1, and get to 2 strikes. He's awfully tough.
32 years of age, out of Mobile, Alabama. Former Cy Young Award winner Jake Peavy. Had some great years with the San Diego Padres. Traded from the White Sox to the Red Sox at the trade deadline this year. Given to Jesus, takes strike 1.
Jake's kind of got a low 3/4 delivery, split like change, good hard slider and a cutter. And when he's on, he keeps the ball below the knees and down, and he's tough to hit.
Good movement on his fastball from that arm angle.
I mentioned, Joe, these two pitchers matched up against each other here at the Trop in September, which means the new acquisitions, guys like DeJesus, got a good look at Peavy. As a matter of fact, DeJesus saw 18 pitches in his 3 at-bats in that start that Peavy had against Tampa Bay in September. The 107 that he threw that day, this was the one guy that Peavy couldn't shake. A lot of foul balls from DeJesus. Doesn't have that big swing and miss type stuff that he did in his Cy Young year. But he was an outstanding pickup for Boston. And not a lot of number 4s come with the credentials of Jake Peavy in the division series.
I think one of the things you're going to keep an eye on relative to his recent outings, though, his last 4 starts for the Red Sox covered 25 innings and he walked 13 batters. And in that was that start against Tampa Bay where he walked 5 in 6 innings in that start you're talking about.
One thing, he's not Mark Fidrich, but if you watch him, he will talk to himself. He will yell at himself. He'll scream, and it's not at anybody else. It's really his way of motivating himself. So watch for that. If you think he's talking, he is, but only to himself.
What you say when you talk to yourself, a sports psychologist's dream here in Jake Peavy. Kind of the Grant Balfour as a starting pitcher. DeJesus fouls another one off. And you have to think it's in Peavy's mind. DeJesus such a pesky hitter. And without those few ticks on the fastball that Peavy used to possess 4 or 5 years ago, which used to end up in swings and misses and strikeouts. As you take a look at the Chevrolet pitch arsenal of Peavy, he'll stick with that fastball most of the time. And a foul tip into the mid of Saltalamacchia, and a strikeout. So DeJesus gone on strikes, and now Joe, the Boston defense.
This is their bbest outfield threesome: Nava, Ellsbury, and Victorino. See 4 gold gloves out there between the center fielder and right fielder. Middlebrooks, Drew, Pedroia, and Napoli. They did have a few miscues last night on the infield. First ones for Boston didn't turn up in errors, but certainly caused them some problems late in the ballgame last night. Saltalamacchia doing the catching for Peavy.
A little bit of a change in the lineup for Joe Madden tonight. Will Myers back in the 2 spot after leaving yesterday's game with cramps in both legs. Did it while at the plate, and that forced the Rays into National League Baseball. Joe Madden says we went National League last night. He didn't have to, but he decided to put his designated hitter in the field, and the spin-off of that was the double switch that put Lobaton in the position he was in the batting order, and he's the one, of course, who hit the walk-off home run. A good choice by Joe Madden, I'd say. They need to get this guy going. If they're going to make it to Game 5, they need him to have a good game. This was his last at bat last night. Not only did his left calf cramp up, but then so did his right on the way in. Rachel Nichols reported last night he immediately went in for an IV, and before he left the ballpark last night, he said he would be back for Game 4, and here he is. And a bouncer back to Peavy. 2 up, 2 down. By the way, Peavy a Gold Glover last year. Interesting note on that. He and Hellickson won the Gold Glove in the American League. They shared the award. First time ever that pitchers have shared the Gold Glove award. It's only happened 3 times when there have been shared Gold Gloves, and we have those 2 on the mound tonight in Peavy and Jeremy Hellickson. So both field their position very well. Both very good athletes. Two up, 2 down for James Loney.
Part of that reason too, fielding your position, they both land in a pretty good spot. They don't spin on their heel. They don't fall off to the mound. They finish in a good firm position, left leg landing and the right leg coming around, so they can handle anything coming their way. So far, very crisp. low fastballs to a right-hander. His slider slurve is going to be devastating. He threw it to Will Myers on the second pitch. If he continues to get that pitch over, the left-handers are going to have to do some damage.
Loney in the air to left field, pretty well hit. Back is Nava in front of the wall. He's got it for the out. Long fly ball out for Loney. Peavy is through the first. 1, 2, 3. David Ortiz ready to lead off. We remind you that MLB Fan Cave is coming back in 2014. Players, celebrities, concerts, and more. You can be a part of next season's team. Just go to MLBFanCave.com and apply now. Just where the Rays want Big Papi leading off an inning. He's had a good run so far. Had that 2-home run game on Saturday. Ortiz leads off with 4 hits in this series, 4 for 9. 3 runs batted, and he's walked 4 times as well. And those 2 homers, the first multi-homer game in the career of Ortiz in the postseason on Saturday at Fenway. And they put the shift on. Longoria, the third baseman, heads out into the second base position. Ortiz picked apart that shift yesterday with an RBI single to add to the Red Sox lead. At one point they led 3-0. Hellickson back to work in the second.
Ortiz was pretty loose, as are both of these ball clubs. It doesn't matter the scenario. They really play on their manager and the locker room, but he put on a display in BP today. Only one caveat. It's an aluminum bat that he was hitting off the back walls and the scoreboard there for 1 round.
I thought I heard the ping today of the aluminum bat. I thought it was at the College World Series.
Yeah, he had it. He was wowing the crowd in right field, back rowing it.
He just showed bunt there, like he might try to bunt his way aboard since they've got this big shift on for him. And Escobar threw out both hands like, go ahead.
Escobar's the only infielder on the left side. Check it out. There's the ping of the aluminum bat. I don't know if I've ever seen a big league hitter do that, unless that aluminum bat was a weighted type bat with a little extra weight on it. I think that was just for fun, just to give him a show here, the early arriving crowd at the Trop. Hellickson walks him on 4 straight. So the 5th walk for Ortiz in the 4 games of this series, and he is aboard to start the second inning.
You know, with the way the Red Sox lineup is, I don't think they care too much if they walk Big Papi. If they make pitches to the guys behind them, they've got a great chance for a double play. And it's going to take a double or triple, obviously, to score him. So patience right now with a hot hitter and a guy who can leave, probably paying dividends even in the second inning.
And the one guy who can change all that is Mike Napoli, who is 2 for 10 in this series. He does have an RBI as a double. And he's been a patient hitter as well. He has 3 walks in the first 3 games.
Something interesting I was just looking at on David Ortiz with respect to walks and how many he acquired during the regular season. He walked 76 times. That's not a ton of walks for a guy in his spot in the batting order, but 27 of those were intentional. So not a lot of walks like he's been gathering in this series already.
Five straight balls to start the inning for Hellickson. Lobatone, a quick chat with his pitcher.
Talking about his fastball location has to be good. His command's got to be good. But there's one report on him, one scouting report I got that said sometimes his fastball command is too good, that he catches too much of the plate and gets hurt, and that was part of his second half problem. Too much lack of command in the middle of the plate.
2-0 on Napoli. And it's ball 3. 7 consecutive balls to start this second inning.
They give up 13 home runs in the home ballpark. 6-3, 4.77 ERA here at home.
Tim Napoli's got the green light here on a 3-0 count. And he takes ball 4. Back-to-back walks. And Jim Hickey quickly on the phone down to the Tampa Bay bullpen. Joe Maddon said it would be a quick hook tonight if Hellickson is in trouble early.
And we asked him what would be the first tip that would get him to get his bullpen up early. And he said walks.
Fastball command, exactly. And I think, you know, it's one thing when you're struggling with your fastball, being able to get another pitch over the plate would be helpful. I mean, it's all been missing with the fastball. And then you start getting into that oh shoot mode where you don't want to pitch anywhere close to contact, which creates the worst problem.
Jamie Wright in the bullpen. Maddon did say if Hellickson was in trouble early, he would bring on one of his regular relief pitchers to get out of the trouble. And then he would go to 2 starters that he has available tonight. Matt Moore, the left-hander, who pitched game 1 of this LDS. And Chris Archer, who is in the bullpen but has been a starter.
Here's the one cat and mouse issue a pitcher's facing. 8 straight balls the hitter normally takes till you get a strike. So do you pump one in there thinking he's taken with a firm fastball to get an easy strike? Or do you think he's thinking the opposite? Those are the things that go through your mind when you miss 8 straight times.
Daniel Nava with 2 on, nobody out. He takes a strike right down the middle.
Which is typical Boston Red Sox strategy. Work the count.
Nava getting the call today, the switch hitter over Johnny Gomes. You figure if this goes to a game 5 with David Price scheduled to pitch, you'd see Gomes as the starter at Fenway if it goes that far. Nava rips one to right, a base hit. Ortiz will be held around third. And the bases are loaded for Boston. 2 walks and a single. And the Red Sox have something cooking early against Hellickson.
I don't know if this was a hanging breaking ball or not, but it's smart hitting on the part of Nava. He was looking for something off speed there after the first pitch fastball. Got one in the middle of the plate and didn't miss it.
Be a little bit of a tactical stall, and the umpire is going to give him about 20 seconds before he walks out.
If you're Joe Maddon, do you make a move this early?
Remember, we wanted an easier game to manage. Now it's not so easy. Never is, and he's coming out. That's going to be it.
He's on his way. Joe Maddon is going to make a pitching change in the 2nd inning. Hellickson faces 6 batters. Retired the side in order in the 1st. Cannot get it out in the 2nd. Pitching change with the bases loaded. We'll take a break. In St. Pete, and the Red Sox have them loaded with nobody out. A pitching change as Hellickson is out. And we want to remind you that the stage to themselves tomorrow, the Pirates and the Cardinals, at 7:30 on TBS, the MLB postseason pregame presented by Jeep. And then Garrett Cole and the Pirates against Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals, game 5, Elimination Day at Busch Stadium. Following the game, the postseason show on TBS presented by Johnny Walker. The quick hook from Maddon. Hellickson is out. Jamie Wright comes in, appearing in the postseason for the first time this season after 18 years in the major leagues, and he is on to try to get out of a mess here with nobody out.
Yeah, this is a really tough situation. Obviously, bases loaded, nobody out. You've got to really try your best to limit to 2 or less, because it's going to be very difficult to get out of this without a run. Jamie Wright's got a sinker, hard sinker for his fastball. And he can get a ground ball. And the good thing for the Rays is that there's Clydesdale's running at 3rd and 2nd, so it may be tough to score 2 on a base hit.
Jared Saltalamacchia, bases loaded. Wright deals strike 1, and it looks like Matt Moore is starting his warm-ups in the Tampa Bay bullpen. So Matt Moore will be called upon, the game 1 starter, to give Joe Maddon some innings here, and hoping to settle into this game if Wright can get through the 2nd. golden opportunity for Boston.
Well, every reliever is used to getting ready in a hurry, but this is doubly tough because he really had to get ready in a hurry. And I know that in the second inning, probably didn't think it would be that quick of a call. So relievers, tough job when you got to come in with runners on and do your best to pick up your teammate.
Right teams can get a huge lead with the shift on.
Ball and 2 strikes on Saltalamacchia. Wright pitched in game 1. He came in the 9th inning. In the first game of this series on Friday, gave up 4 runs. Part of that 12-2 Boston win.
Saltalamacchia's done some damage in this series. That was mostly in Boston in game 1. He's had 8 at-bats with 5 strikeouts. That would be huge here for Wright.
Well, the hitter's preparing all day for Hellickson too, watching video, and he didn't even get a chance to face him once. So he's now, he's faced Jamie Wright, but the fact is, you have to change your mind. Greg Colburn going over the scouting report, trying to fill everybody in, as they do before the game. But that's usually on the starter.
1-2 pitch. Count even to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
They play Saltalamacchia around the pole. They got 3 guys on the right side of the infield. But in the outfield, they've got Jennings shading him toward left. You can see in center field. And look how deep the Jesus is in left. The last breaking ball is tried a backdoor breaking ball, which might have gone against the defense right there if it had been closer.
Strike 3. Jamie Wright drops the hook on him.
Tell you what, Jamie Wright tried it a couple times, gets the benefit of a late break. Your heart rate is beating. He's been in the game long enough to at least learn how to slow that heart rate down and throw those finesse pitches. Let me just tell you, that is easier said than done, and a big first out. They're a double play away from getting out of what typically could be a huge inning for the Red Sox.
6th strikeout of the series for Saltalamacchia. Now Stephen Drew, batting 8th for the Red Sox tonight. 0 for 4 last night was Drew. And he rips one. Oh, it's gone at first. Throw to second. Scoop. And it's out. Double play. Loney, nothing there. Opportunity at the bag at second. Inning over.
Absolutely brilliant double play. Gets the Rays out of a big jam in the top of the second inning. James Loney somehow able to glove this line drive and then have the presence of mind when he couldn't get back to get Nava to make a throw to second. And what a play at second base by Yunel Escobar. James Loney's usually the guy that's able to dig him out of the dirt for Escobar. Escobar turned the trick for him on that short hop. Just a fabulous set of hands on Yunel to make that play and get the double play.
That really is unbelievable. I don't think that play shows how hard that scoop was for Escobar, and he loves being in that situation. Made it look like it was nothing.
Led the American League in fielding percentage this year, the best shortstop defensively. And now Longoria on the first pitch. They had him shaded to pull, but Ellsbury runs it down. 1 pitch, 1 out for Peavy. So after all of that, the Red Sox strand 2, had the bases loaded, nobody out, and come up empty, and now the Rays are going to be able to reset it here with Matt Moore.
Well, this is what I was talking about. This little scoop right here could have easily gone in, and it's all in a fast motion. Could have easily got by him, and the run could have scored from third. Just great heads up all the way around, like having your head on a swivel, because Loney couldn't get him at first.
If that ball gets by Escobar, Ortiz scores easily. He was already across home plate. And a bad break for the Red Sox early. Stephen Drew hit that like a bullet to first. Escobar committed just 7 errors in the premier defensive position on the diamond at short this year. Then Zobrist with one away in the air, left field. Nada and Peavy rolling along quickly here. 2 up, 2 down. He's retired the first 5 he's faced.
He's retired the first 5, and he's had 3 conversations already. They've been short, to the point, but he's cracking the whip early.
Jamie Wright comes in to a hornet's nest and able to get out of it.
There's the 4th, 5th, and 6th conversation. Does that count as one?
That was just one. That was one pitch worth. Both those pitches look like they're at the top of the strike zone. Both called balls.
Shot right at the shortstop. Drew makes a terrific play, and that will retire the side. Boy, the 2 shortstops on display early here as Peavy with a 7-pitch second inning. ALDS coverage on TBS presented by T-Mobile. Game 4, the Red Sox up 2 games to 1 in this series, and already some thrilling defense by the Rays in this game, and a very bad break for the Boston Red Sox. Stephen Drew looking at perhaps a 3 RBI double, maybe even a triple. That line drive stabbed by Loney. Now Wright back at it, and he'll start a clean inning here.
Now this has quickly turned into a spring training type game for the Rays, and what I mean by that, in spring training you usually see 6 to 7 pitchers work their way up to get ready in shape. This is going to be one of those scenarios where when Joe Madden sees a matchup he likes, he's got double barrel action in the bullpen. Matt Moore probably will give him distance but won't get out of trouble per se. He'll start a clean inning, but Wesley Wright is back there probably to get out of this inning, if that comes up.
Middlebrooks, the 9-hole hitter for Boston. He started every game in this series. And again, Madden told us before the game if Moore was to come in, he would probably start an inning. So he's taking his time as if he was making a start, going through all of his normal progressions in a warm-up. That's why you see 2 lefties in the bullpen. As Middlebrooks pulls it foul.
Both Moore and Wright are warming up as if they're going to come in after this out for Ellsbury.
Yeah, Ellsbury, the left-hander. Remember, Victorino, although still officially a switch hitter, is just a right-handed batter these days.
He didn't get a couple of calls in the bottom of the second. That was a good pitch from Jamie.
Middlebrooks takes ball 4, so he is aboard. The Red Sox have a leadoff batter reach base. That is now the 3rd walk already. Hellickson had the 2 walks on 6 straight pitches, or rather 8 straight pitches in the second. And here comes Joe Madden. He's got the 2 left-handers, so he's going to make the call to Matt Moore. So Moore will enter this game with a man on base. The Game 1 starter, Matt Moore, is coming in. Take a break. What a wild start to this ball game. The Tampa Bay Rays are in serious ad lib right now. Jeremy Hellickson taken out in the second inning. Red Sox had the bases loaded and nobody out. Jamie Wright came in. He was able to get out of the inning with a line drive out that turned into a double play. And now, John, it's going to be Matt Moore, who started game 1 for the Rays against Boston, took the loss that day against the Red Sox at Fenway.
Yeah, had trouble getting his secondary pitches over, and talking to Joe Madden earlier, you get scripted ideas of what you want to do if this situation comes up, if that comes up. He really would have liked to start Matt Moore in a clean inning, but he's right here. He's brought him into the fire and see how much length he can give him out of the pen, even though he's a starter.
Now Madden has made his play with what is essentially his long man, and it's a very capable long man in Matt Moore. And the bullpen is quiet for now. So here is Ellsbury with a runner at first. Leadoff walk to Middlebrooks. And a bouncing ball to second. Zobrist takes the big hop, throwing first for the out there. Got to put a tag on Soper. He's out around Middlebrooks. So another double play. But an excellent play by Zobrist, who stops the runner. And 2 outs again with 1 swing of the bat for the Rays.
Well, this is just a fastball right there, and you see the big hop. That determined what he was going to do. Of course, Ellsbury can fly, so the quick out at first was easy. And then the execution right here of a mini rundown. 1 throw and a tag.
Zobrist did a good job of making Middlebrooks commit back to first before he flipped it to Loney. Gave him plenty of time to get Middlebrooks.
4-3-6 on the double play. And the base is empty now for Shane Victorino. This Rays defense has been so good this year. It has been a little bit what has defined at least the first 2 games, and until Longoria hit the 3-run home run yesterday. Kind of in some deep waters yesterday, but they are on point here tonight.
I don't know if Joe Madden can get a double play from every reliever he brings in tonight, but he's 2 for 2 so far.
Matt Moore has pitched out of relief in the postseason. As a matter of fact, he came in for Jeremy Hellickson in 2011. That was in the division series in Game 4 against Texas. It's not totally unfamiliar territory for him.
Well, he looks pretty smooth for coming out of the pen after starting all year. It helps when you throw 1 pitch and get 2 outs.
Swing and a miss. Matt Moore comes on, gets through the inning. Rays coming up, bottom 3rd. Every day, our servicemen and women dedicate their lives to protecting our freedom. Please join Bank of America in thanking our troops by using hashtag #TroopThanks. When you do, Bank of America will donate $1 up to $1 million to Wounded Warrior Project and Welcome Back Veterans. On our way to the bottom of the 3rd, the Rays are coming up. Kelly Johnson making his first start of the series. Will lead off, bottom of the order. Peavy has been very good to start. 6 up, 6 down with a strikeout.
Tell you what, when we started this series, I thought it was really going to be a heavyweight fight between some pitching staffs. Well, the offense has won out. There's been a lot of strange things. The Rays have used different lineups, different orders, where the Red Sox pretty much are maybe 1 or 2 decisions on what John Farrell can do. And what can you say so far about Joe Madden and some of the things that he's doing? It's
mad scientist.
It really is.
Well, Madden has already used 3 pitchers. He's hoping Matt Moore can hang around for a while. After Moore comes on, gets the double play from Ellsbury, and then a strikeout. So Hellickson goes an inning plus. Jamie Wright goes an inning plus. Now Moore, the pitcher of record.
I really admire Joe Madden for having the gumption to do what he said he was going to do. That if he sees that Hellickson didn't have his stuff, he's walking guys, he's going to make a change, and he did, and it worked out great for him.
2-2 to Kelly Johnson, who does have an appearance in this series. He pinch hit in game 1, had a triple.
Excellent fastball hitter.
And a revolving door of designated hitters for Joe Madden. And a swing and a miss. Johnson strikes out, 7 in a row for Peavy as we send it down to Rachel.
Well, guys, Jake Peavy has a very unusual good luck charm in the clubhouse for this game. Peavy is part Native American, and on a road trip earlier this year, he picked up this Indian statue. Now, the little guy has become a favorite in the clubhouse. You can see they put a Red Sox beard on him, Red Sox shirt, and they take him with them to every city that they travel to. Brian Peavy said that if they win the World Series, that little guy is going in his boat, duck boat, in the parade.
It's very good. Very good. And superstitious baseball players. We got Duck Boat, and every time I look at the Red Sox, I think Duck Dynasty.
Guys, I was just going to say it'll fit in perfect.
Peavy doing his best to grow the beard. Of course, he came to the Red Sox a little later than most when they started the beard growing process. He's getting about as much out of it as he possibly can.
That's a good fastball tonight. That one was 93. He typically is 82 to 90, 88 to 92, and he's been a little over the top of that.
Well, when he's had rest of more than 5 days, 6+ days rest, is 5-0, 3.35 ERA. So the rest so far has served him well. And his adrenaline well in check so far.
Just yelled at himself on a pitch that was a called strike.
And Escobar down the right field line, base hit. Yunel Escobar already made a terrific defensive play, and now the first hit for the Rays. And here comes Lobaton. Uehara gave up the walk-off home run last night. First in franchise history to hit a walk-off home run in the postseason. One of those magical moments from the guy you expected it. I don't know, he's got good power. I don't want to say he's the last guy you expect to hit it, but the matchup, Joe, against Uehara, who rarely gives up home runs, rarely even gives up fly balls.
He put a charge in it. Split finger out away from him and down.
Has not been a more dominant closer than Uehara in the second half of the season. And on the second pitch of the at-bat, Lobaton did not miss into the tank.
Lobaton swings a big bat, a heavy bat, and he dropped the barrel of it on that one. Virtually every guy you walked up to today at the ballpark, and they started talking about the walk-up, it was like, well, I didn't see that coming, especially against Uehara.
I thought his comments after the game were brilliant in the sense that here's a guy that wasn't playing all day, but paying attention, saying, I looked for something soft and got it.
2 balls and a strike on Lobaton. Now the miss is inside. Lobaton said before the game, I asked him, do you remember any walk-off home runs prior to this year? He does have 3 walk-offs this season for the Rays, and one of those was a home run in August, and he said, never. I've never had one in my life. As a matter of fact, Lobaton said, I was telling my wife, I've got to get a walk-off home run at some point in my career. Boy, did he ever deliver with one last night. And that's a hot shot, base hit through the infield. Lobatone is aboard with a single. Back-to-back hits against Peavy at the bottom of the order. 2 on, 1 out.
Well, when you look at this pitch, fastball, not a bad pitch, but he goes out and hooks it and gets it right in the hole. Left-handers are going to have the better chance, I think, against Peavy with the way that his arsenal is.
I think they've already figured out that they've got to pitch him down and in, maybe that slider to his back foot, because anything out away from him, he is getting extended.
Escobar with a 2-strike single. Lobatone in the 3-1 count delivers the base hit to right. And now back to the top of the order, David DeJesus. One of 2 Peavy strikeouts tonight. And DeJesus slices one foul.
You know, it's interesting the way trends work in certain statistics. Pitches 16 to 30. They're hitting 306 off of Peavy. Pitches 1 through 15, 156. And that's the only 15-pitch scenario all the way up to 115 where there's any remote number average well over 230, 240. It's strange. You just can't figure it out. But that little gap, 16 to 30, is the highest average when you look at the grouping of pitches.
Bouncing ball, Peavy turns and fires to second. Drew to first and a double play. And Peavy, the Gold Glover, gets out of the inning. 1-6-3 double play for the Red Sox. Fans, be the first to know the latest news on all your teams with Bleacher Report's Team Stream app. Stay one step ahead. Check out Team Stream on your phone's app store today. Ryan Anderson with John Smoltz, Joe Simpson, Rachel Nichols. Great to have you with us tonight for Game 4 of this American League Division Series. There's been some fine defensive work early in this one. Rays have been able to get out of a big jam and been able to wrestle through some early pitching changes. Matt Moore will start a clean inning, and he is the 3rd pitcher used already for Joe Madden. Justin Pedroia leads off, strike 1 to get the 4th inning started. Hellickson retired the side in order in the 1st, did not get an out in the 2nd inning. 2 walks and a single, and he was out. Jamie Wright came on. He struck out Saltalamacchia, and then Drew hit a rocket to first that turned into a 3-6 double play. And the Red Sox, with the bases loaded, nobody out, came up empty in that 2nd inning.
That breaking ball's a good one. Good hard one from Moore.
0-2 on Pedroia. In the air to center field. And Jennings will haul it in, out number 1. Pedroia is 0 for 2. And that'll bring up David Ortiz.
You know, it's interesting when you looked at this series in the beginning and you matched them up player for player, position by position, staff against staff. I thought Boston's offensive approach would have to grind out the good Rays starting pitcher and get into their pen to have success. Well, they've done that. They've won that battle. And I thought that the Red Sox would have to get to their pen and their closer to have success, and they have. So here we are in Game 4, and once again, they've grinded out another starter. I also thought that the Rays would have to stop the Red Sox from running, which hasn't been the case so far.
Now the Red Sox got off to such a fast start in Games 1 and 2. There was a 13-inning stretch from Game 1 into Game 2. 13-inning stretch where they scored 19 runs, the Red Sox did. 25 hits in those 13 innings. And a .352 batting average. Yesterday the Rays were able to hold them down. Alex Cobb combining with terrific bullpen work. Even though there was a blown save by Rodney, setting up the heroics for Jose Lobatone in the 9th. Still checking scouting reports, and that's the other part of it, isn't it, Joe? That Hellickson's out of the game, and all the preparation you've done for the starter, now you've got to reboot here and try to get into the scouting report of Matt Moore.
So rare that that happens this early in a ball game.
Ortiz, and that's going to get down a base hit. David Ortiz just keeps on hitting in this series.
And did you see how Will Myers went after that baseball? That ball was hit between him and the line, obviously, but all he did was cut across. He didn't even have to go back. He was playing so deep, he almost ran in a straight line along the warning track to go get this ball.
His own defense, and he beat it.
David Ortiz now 5 for 10 in this series with 5 walks. Always on base. And here is Napoli. 1 out, Ortiz at first.
Good stretch of offense for the Red Sox, Brian, and it started against Matt Moore in the 4th inning of Game 1.
Matt Moore cruised through the first 3 innings of that game. It was a Dustin Pedroia single that started it for Boston. That misplay in right by Myers on the Ortiz fly ball turned into a double. And a 5-run inning. Again, a string of crooked numbers for the Red Sox in the first 2 games of the series.
Matt Moore's already been more patient with his off-speed pitches in this game than he was in Game 1. Of course, a lot of fastballs, and we already documented how the inning turned around with a misplay, that he looks much more comfortable on the mound the second go-around.
Remember, too, John, neither he or Price threw hardly any curveballs in Games 1 and 2. I'm sure he's worked on that on the side a little bit, too.
Matt Moore was an all-star this season, 24-year-old lefty. And his 4th career relief appearance. High pop up. Back in the seats. Count remains at 1 and 2. Matt Moore had a fantastic year for the Rays this season, and he was certainly in the Cy Young discussion. Moore was 17-4 this year with a .329 earned run average. Had an injury that knocked him out for a few weeks. He returned in early September. Able to check his swing. 2 and 2 on Napoli. Changeup. Swing and a miss. Moore strikes him out. He pulled the string. Second out of the inning, and the second strikeout for Matt Moore.
Well, this is just great arm action when you think fastballs off of Moore and the delivery comes the same place, and the hand and the grip, the ball just doesn't get there and fades away from a right-hander. We talked about he's thrown a couple good curveballs, a couple good changeups. That's how you get these kind of hitters out in the Red Sox lineup.
And settling in here in his home ballpark, a little more comfortable, obviously, tonight.
Daniel Nava, the switch hitter, will turn around, hit right-handed against Moore. He singled as a left-handed batter in the second inning. That was the last batter face for Jeremy Hellickson. Had loaded the bases with nobody out in the second. Nava's first hit in the series. He's now 1 for 4. Took the collar yesterday, 0 for 3.
3 to 4 outs, and both Ks have been on off-speed pitches. Great sign. If you're looking for to go deep into the game, he certainly has the arsenal to do that and eat up some innings.
Matt Moore dealt with an elbow injury this year in late July, and at the time he went on the disabled list, had 14 wins with 2 months to play in the season. Max Scherzer looks like the odds-on favorite to win the Cy Young Award in the American League, but Matt Moore was hanging right there with him. But a great year, but it's been an interesting year. The statistics are impressive, but he hasn't exactly gone about it smoothly. A lot of high pitch counts. He's had a lot of runners on base. He did have a complete game, the first and only complete game of his career against Boston. As Nava draws the walk. So a hit and a walk, and the Red Sox with 2 on, 2 out in the 4th. And here comes Jim Hickey.
You spoke to that injury, and then David Price as well had an injury and certainly started out slow. When he came back, they won 22 of the next 26 games when Price returned. Look at the motion for Matt Moore. It's on his backside and then comes over strong on his front side. Over the top delivery. Stiff front leg, and it should bend at some point, but he's pretty much more of a straight leg finish guy than usually straight leg bend and then get to your fielding position.
Moore's command is always a question. And he's been able to pitch through it, has had that great season, the regular season. But it got him into big trouble at Fenway Park on Friday. And now he faces Jared Saltalamacchia, another switch hitter. 2 on.
Jared's best side is his left side. Better numbers over there, better power, but overall for the season with runners in scoring position and 2 out, he had 283. A good number.
Saltalamacchia shares time with David Ross. And not a straight platoon. Ross did start on Saturday, the right-handed hitting version of that platoon. Saltalamacchia hit just .218 this year against lefties. Hit nearly .300 against right-handed pitchers. So everything John Farrell had in mind when he put his lineup together against the right-handed starter Hellickson, now he has to adjust as this game goes on, and because it is so early, he sticks with a number of these odd matchups.
2 outs, Big Poppy's getting a really, really big lead. He needs that big lead, even though it's 2 outs. The outfielders are playing a little bit deep, but anything firm to the outfielders, I believe they got a chance to throw him out. So he's taking an aggressive 2-out lead. Of course, the infielders are staying back, trying to defend their position.
2 balls and a strike. Miss. It's been a good pitch for him, and now it's 2-2 on Saltalamacchia. Back on their feet.
Got a lot of confidence here in his first full inning of work to use his off-speed stuff. I'm expecting to use it again.
Nice block by Lobaton to keep the runners in place.
Now he'll get a really good lead and a really good jump on a 3-2 pitch and 2 outs.
Alex Torres ready in the bullpen. Full count, 2 outs. And Moore and monotone, having a tough time connecting on the right pitch. There's a call, strike three. Matt Moore rings the bell. Saltalamacchia strikes out, looking again with men on base. Been a lot of activity for a scoreless ball game, especially by the Boston Red Sox. Feels like they've had runners on all night so far. We are on our way to the fourth. Will Myers will lead off. Rays are in the two spot in their batting order with Myers, Loney, and then Longoria. And Jake Peavy, he retired the first 7, gave up back-to-back hits, and then got a 1-6-3 double play to end the 3rd inning. And he looks good early. Will Myers hitless in this series. 0 for 13 thus far. He bounced out to the mound his last time up. He does have a hit in this postseason. That was an infield hit against the Cleveland Indians last Wednesday in the tiebreaker, or rather in the wild card game.
First time, maybe all series, Will Myers has stepped to the plate, and I'm sure he's felt it's been 0-2, 1-2 almost every at-bat.
Big bouncing ball, ranging over is Pedroia, and safe. Infield hit for Will Myers. Well, moments ago, we spoke with Red Sox manager John Farrell in the dugout, brought to you by Charles Schwab. Well, John, all of these pitching changes, what does that mean in your dugout right now as you try to make adjustments?
Well, that means we've created opportunities for ourselves, and yet you get a line drive double play, you get a couple of punch outs, and leave some guys on base, but I like the overall approach. We've seen these guys throughout the course of the year. We've got updated reports, and guys adjust on the fly. We've just got to get that key 2-out hit or a base hit with men in scoring position.
John, with Peavy, controlled aggression, pretty good so far.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, he gets a couple of base hits there to lead off the last inning, but presence of mind, he makes a quality pitch to the Jesus, roll the ground ball double play, and he's well aware of where we're at and what we're playing for here tonight. So he's in good shape so far.
And our thanks to John Farrell visiting with us between innings and where the Red Sox are, trying to advance to the ALCS for the right to play for the pennant. And they can do that with a win tonight. If the Rays win, we head to Boston for Game 5 Thursday. And now the Rays have their hottest hitter at the plate in James Loney after the leadoff infield hit by Myers.
And Loney put a charge in one his first time up tonight. Backed Nava up to the fence in left field. And for Peavy, he's not going to make a mistake with another fastball there early in the count. Good changeup.
Loney had 3 hits last night, 3 for 3 with a double. Red Sox set up to turn a double play. Loney does not run well. Loney has been a clutch postseason performer. All of it coming as a member of the Dodgers until this run with the Tampa Bay Rays this year. 5 for 9 in the series. A couple of RBIs, 2 doubles. Shot right back to Drew, standing there on the shift and throw to first in time. Jake Peavy, another double play. This one goes 6-3, and the double play starting to define this ball game early.
And had the presence of mind to get his pitching hand out of the way of this. Started to reach for it, pulled his hand back, aware of where his defense was situated. Easy double play for Stephen Drew.
And that would be the most traditional of the 4 that have been turned so far. Had the line drive double play. Had the 4-3-6 double play by the Rays. Peavy gets his second. Longoria bats with nobody on, right where the Red Sox want him. Longoria had that clutch 3-run home run yesterday. Lobaton stole the headlines with the walk-off, but it was Longoria's 3-run homer that tied the game. A bouncer, Middlebrooks, winds it up. Peavy gets the double play ball after the leadoff single. Nice and quiet in the fourth for Jake Peavy. Tank out there in deep right center, still trying to fish out Jose Lobaton's home run ball from last night. Stingers have been removed, don't worry about it. Tropicana Field, St. Petersburg, Florida. And another pitching change for Joe Madden, John. Another left-hander is coming on. This will be Alex Torres. He's got Stephen Drew to lead off. A couple of left-handers to deal with, and Drew and Ellsbury in this Boston fifth.
Not afraid to challenge the strike zone with his fastball. Gritty little left-hander who goes after it with that slider, changeup. To continue with the spring training theme, we're on our way to seeing 8 and 9 potential pitchers for the Rays.
Torres is the fourth. Ellickson started, Jamie Wright, and then Matt Moore, and now Torres.
Torres 2 innings of work in the division series, 4 strikeouts, only 1 hit allowed.
And Drew pops this one up, foul territory. Longoria, 4-out number 1. Moments ago, we spoke with Rays manager Joe Madden in the dugout, brought to you by Charles Schwab. Well, Joe, some serious ad-libbing going on to start this game. What's going through your mind at this point?
That's a great way to put it. I thought that the first inning, Hellerson was fantastic. Good fastball, good changeup. Second inning, couldn't find the plate, so we had to do something about it. I thought if Jamie had been able to get past, what was it, Middlebrooks that he walked? If he had gotten past him, I was going to let him pitch a little bit deeper than that. But once it got to that point, there's no waiting around right now. Brought in Matty. I think looking from the side right now, it looks to me like Match has pretty much reached his moment for tonight. Not being a relief pitcher necessarily, so we're going to go with Alex right now.
Thanks to Joe Madden, and that was recorded between innings, and he's walking us through why Matt Moore is out and why Alex is in. And Moore not being a relief pitcher, pushing it to the break, and after an inning and 2/3 of pretty stressful baseball, he goes to his relievers here as a base hit to right. And again, the Red Sox come up with action from the bottom of their order. Middlebrooks walked in the third, and now he singles to right field, and a man on with 1 away.
Have some good 0-2 hitting there. Going the other way, cut down on his swing, and reaches for the top of the order. Fastball away from him, and didn't try to do too much with it.
It's been the key and success for the Red Sox, why their offense is leading in so many categories. They don't try to do too much. Joe Madden's about an inning and a half behind normal when you think about relievers he would typically use. So he's got to catch up somewhere. Somebody's going to have to pick up more than what they're accustomed to. Maybe that's Chris Archer, who knows. But right now, he doesn't have a lot of options, and he's just going based on how the game is going, what he feels the lineup, who could best pitch to that lineup or that particular part of the lineup.
Still has a couple of lefties out there in Wright and McGee. Those become valuable pieces against this Red Sox lineup. There will be a day off tomorrow if the Rays win, so a full reset for the bullpens tomorrow. And of course, if the Red Sox win it, the season's over anyway. So, as Joe Madden put it, Johnny Holstaff to get him through this one. See the pitch arsenal of Alex Torres. Fastballs and changeups. Ellsbury takes a strike.
And that's the thing. You manage to those days off in a series because they're huge. In other words, in a 5-day season where you're playing 5 days in a row, you might not be able to manage a game like this. So when you have that day off and you can reset these guys in a way where they can contribute if you win, that's huge. But right now, the choices are slim. Boston has a lot more leverage being up 2-1.
Ellsbury in a 1-1 count and a check on Middlebrooks.
I was just going to say virtually the same thing, John, in this way, that they've won 4 straight elimination games dating back to the play-in game in 163 with Texas, even the day before that with Toronto. But the pressure's all on Tampa Bay. They can't afford any kind of mistake, any look of weakness on the part of their pitchers. Joe Maddon's going to get somebody else out there. Boston has the luxury of being up a game.
Yeah, I used to hate the most used and most ridiculous saying, our backs are up against the wall, we've got nothing to lose. That's malarkey. I mean, you have everything to lose. That's why the pressure is on you. And, you know, they say, well, if you can win that game and force a game 7 or a game 5, then the pressure goes on back to the home team. I still don't agree, but being in a situation where your room for error is so small, that is a lot of pressure. So totally agree with the point on where the Rays are right now.
Ellsbury, and on a hop, throw to second for 1, throw to first is late. Escobar picked that one up on a hop. Middlebrooks was in no man's land. Tough base running move there, but they do get the out at second. And virtually impossible to throw out the speedy Ellsbury on this play.
This is a great trade-off. If there's going to be an out for Boston, there's no better trade than to get Ellsbury on the bases. After that fracture in his foot, he wasn't running as hard as he probably should at the beginning, but he turned on the jets to still leg it out. Look for him to try and go even against the lefty.
Ellsbury has 3 stolen bases in this series already, and Victorino is the perfect guy to hit behind him. He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes, and he'll give him some opportunities to run.
Torres with that bent left leg, straight right leg, unless he uses a slide step, which would be hard to get much on his pitch, he's going to have to pick that front foot up and give Ellsbury a little time to get a good jump.
Running game for the Red Sox, a big part of what they do, and their 3 primary base stealers. Ellsbury right at the top of the list, had a 50+ stolen base season this year, and it's not just the volume of stolen bases, but their stolen base percentage that is a story. They rarely get caught. Jacoby Ellsbury has stolen bases in all 3 games of this division series, and only twice has a player had a stolen base in his team's first 4 postseason games. Only Vizquel in '96 with the Indians and Lou Brock of the '68 Cardinals. Austin with 5 bags in this series so far.
Looks like when he comes home, his leg and his upper body stays pretty much the same place when he comes home, but when he goes to first, he has to rock back over that back leg a little bit to raise his leg up and try to deceive the runner. Maybe something that Ellsbury can pick up on if he wants to go.
Ball and a strike on Victorino, and another check on Ellsbury.
Pointed out, I think in Boston, John, that Victorino doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes. Case here where if he sees him go, you can look for Victorino to take the pitch and give him a chance to steal it. Where he likes to get that walking lead. Let him keep going and keep moving towards second without making him stop. You make it awfully hard on Lobaton to throw him out.
A giant hole between first and second for Victorino. Playing him to pull in the infield. And that hit him. Victorino hit again. The 3rd time in this series that Victorino has been hit by a pitch.
I wonder if it got him on the thumb.
So close to the plate. You see his arms hanging almost over the plate to where close enough it almost could be a strike, but the back arm, elbow, back elbow.
Man, using the hand got him right in the center of the forearm.
And that is his throwing arm. See if that has any effect on him. He's already playing with that brace on his thumb. Injured his thumb late in the season. And that's biting him a little bit.
Well, you could tell when he didn't go right away to first base. You could tell that he needed a little attention.
Led the American League in that category this year. 18 hit by pitches, the 3rd time in this series. And now the Red Sox threatening again. 2 on. 2 outs for Pedroia. I like what John Farrell said when we had a visit with him between innings. He said, well, we're not getting the big hit so far, but it means we're putting ourselves in an opportunity to score runs. We have the base runners we're looking for. Red Sox had the bases loaded in the 2nd, could not score. Leadoff walk in the 3rd left him out there, and then stranded 2 in the 4th.
Pedroia hit .321 with men in scoring position during the season. .250 with 2 out. Red Sox have a lot of dangerous hitters in their lineup up and down, but if you hold Joe Madden, he'd probably rather see just about anybody up there right now than Dusty Pedroia in a clutch situation.
Great speed on the bases. Ellsbury and Victorino. Pedroia with a big swing.
Such a really good fade changeup. It's a little bit harder right there of a changeup, but that arm action, when you see him come after it, here comes a fastball, and then it just, not the perfect place to put it, but enough off of it to get Pedroia to miss.
1 ball, 1 strike. Pedroia bouncing ball to Zobrist. 2 more left on for Boston. And we remain scoreless. Rays coming up, bottom of the 5th. It's just the start of the story. Unguarded with our own Rachel Nichols. It premieres Friday night, October 25th, 10:30 Eastern on CNN. Can't wait. She's all ready. Rachel's been doing double duty during this division series, getting ready for that show. Doing a great job on the sidelines for the Rays and the Red Sox. Rachel will be continuing with us. She'll be moving into the American League Championship Series, filing reports. So here we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Ben Zobrist will lead off. Zobrist, Jennings, Johnson against Jake Peavy.
Just joining and you see the 0-0 score, you might not know that 5 pitchers have been used. 1 for Boston, Peavy still in the game, and then 4 for Tampa. If this were a fight, I'm not saying the trainer would have thrown in the towel for Tampa, but he's stressing. They've been a lot of punches thrown, and they've stood up to all of them so far, and they're going to have to grind this game out.
Zobrist Just a little flare in the left center field. Ellsbury got a late break. Here comes Nava, and he's got it. So Daniel Nava makes the catch for the first out, and we check in with Keith Olbermann in our Atlanta studio. All right, Kevin, thanks. One going in the bottom of the 5th inning.
I don't teach him.
I love Don as much as anyone. Quite offensive for him, I'm sure. Fly ball to right from Jennings, and over to cut it off is Victorino. They cover a lot of ground in the outfield. This is the best outfield configuration the Red Sox have. And Victorino and Ellsbury can certainly cut down those gaps. And Peavy with the first 2 out here in the 5th.
That was a really good play by Nava over there because he had Ellsbury bearing down on him. Kind of caught the ball and flinched at the same time, but he wasn't going to give up on it.
2 up, 2 down, and here is Kelly Johnson. Designated hitter role for the Rays, been occupied by Delvin Young. Last night we saw Matt Joyce, and tonight it is Kelly Johnson. Johnson struck out his first time up. Peavy has a pair of Ks, has not walked a batter. And as difficult as it has been for Joe Madden with his pitching, Peavy is making things easy on his manager, John Farrell, at this point. He looks like he is in command.
Tough times for Jake Peavy in the past in postseason. 0-2 record, huge ERA. That was against the Cardinals. He also had that tiebreaker game in Colorado back in 07 and lost that one. But tonight he is nails.
Best showing yet. Strikes out Johnson. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Rays. American League Division Series coverage on TBS, presented by T-Mobile. Alex Torres back on the mound. And the Red Sox coming up. We go to the 6th inning now, still in a scoreless tie. Each club with 3 hits. The Red Sox have stranded 6 tonight. And David Ortiz will lead off. Smoltz, you're asking for a Rays reliever to bridge the gap, or at least Joe Madden is asking someone to get him caught up after using so many pitchers early. And Torres, the 4th Tampa Bay pitcher, and here he is in his 2nd inning of work.
Somebody's going to have to make a great pitch against this guy. We haven't seen too many of them. Not a lot of pitches around the strike zone, really being cautious. And you can understand why. Luckily, a lot of these times lately have been leading off.
And a shot, and Zobrist deep out there, took a wicked hop on him. And from short right field, retires David Ortiz.
That snapped a streak of Ortiz reaching 7 straight times, dating back to the home run off Price in Game 2 in the 8th inning. And were it not for the shift, he would have extended that streak. How deep Zobrist is, and it still almost skipped by him.
I have a second baseman with an arm to play that deep. And Zobrist, who has played shortstop on occasion and came up as a shortstop, certainly has that kind of arm. So the first out, Torres facing Mike Napoli. Ever since Madden removed Hellickson from the game, the starter, in the 2nd inning, Hellickson retired the first 3 faced and then did not get an out in the second. He's been waiting for someone to give him multiples. Tried it with Jamie Wright, didn't work out. He brought Matt Moore in. Matt Moore was able to go in and get 2 points. Now Alex Torres, after surviving a couple of base runners in the 5th, has his first out in the 6th. And a high drive into center field. That's going to stand a ballpark. Jennings makes the catch for the out. 2 up and 2 down. It is golf's most exclusive event, major champions only. The 2013 PGA Grand Slam of Golf from the Port Royale Golf Course in Bermuda. It all starts Tuesday, October 15th, 4 p.m. Eastern on TNT.
You'll be working that, won't you, Don?
Yes, I will, and I'm looking forward to that. I am excited to see the world's best golfers go at it all next week. By the way, just a correction on Moore. He goes 2 full innings, despite Jamie Wright starting the 3rd and issuing a walk.
Once in a while, Torres, and this could be just part of Jim Hickey, I think, is going to come out and maybe remind him of this. He runs away from his mechanics a little bit. And what I mean by that is you got to stay in there to throw the ball. Your body can't be going to third base before you release the ball. And that could be a little, byproduct of being a little fatigued and worked a little bit in this. He's going to make him laugh. Always a good thing to do. And I think it's just, at that 3-0 pitch, he got away with that because that's that crippled pitch where hitters can pretty much unload. I think you're seeing a guy that's running a little bit on empty, and they're just trying to get him through this last batter.
It's interesting when Brian was describing how Hellickson didn't record an out in the 2nd inning. Well, that usually means the opponent got 3 or 4 or 5 runs. Well, that's not been the case. We're still scoreless because Joe Madden didn't take any chances. He brought in Jamie Wright, who got a huge strikeout and then a double play.
And that was a bit of bad luck for the Red Sox. Stephen Drew did a line drive out to first. Took a great play by Loney. Doubled off Napoli at second base as Torres gets a swing and a miss from Daniel Nava.
See, that was much better. Even he threw the pitch and then fell off, and the pitch had low tailing action on that fastball.
Fouled away. No balls. 2 strikes on Nava.
I don't know if we'll ever get to this in technology, kind of being a little facetious, but the NFL quarterback has a system in his helmet where he can hear certain things coming in. It'd be a nice system to have in your head. Save a lot of trips to the mound. Just that little tip a pitcher needs sometimes, that mental reminder of what to do to correct a flaw.
You saw Jake McGee loosening in the Rays bullpen. If Torres can get through this 6th inning, then he will be the one that bridges the gaps in late relief. And now you have to think Madden feels like he's set up with his best 3 pitchers as far as relief pitchers go at the end of the game for the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Pitch is down and away, and now they'll make a take.
One problem with that, Brian, you got to find a way to score some runs, because then you really run out of pitchers if this game is extended much past that.
Well, I was just going to say he still has Archer down there too if the game does go past the 9th inning for some long relief.
Nava's been a tough out. He has singled and walked in this game. And a swing and a miss. Torres strikes him out. 3 up, 3 down. Those are 3 big outs in the 6th. Rays are coming to bat. Escobar ready to lead off for the Tampa Bay Rays. Sellout crowd here at Tropicana Field at St. Pete. And Jake Peavy, John, you talked about in the beginning of our broadcast about him, a guy who is a high wire energy player, having to maybe channel that aggression in a game with this kind of intensity, and it seems like he's done that very well tonight.
Yeah, he sure has. He's done that in a way where he's put his team in a nice position. Look for Escobar to have some quick action early in this count. Loves to swing at the first pitch.
And a first pitch strike from Peavy on the inside corner.
Good pitch selection there, even though he left it in the front door portion of that slider.
Peavy's been in the windup most of the game. He's only given up 3 hits, all of them singles. He gave up back-to-back singles in the 3rd inning, and then ended the inning on a double play that he started. And another double play, a 6-3 double play in the 4th. He's coming off a 3-3 down inning as Escobar drives one to left, on his way back to the ninth. He's off the top of the wall, takes a big bounce, and Yunel Escobar with a double. A leadoff double for the Rays. Escobar is 2 for 2 tonight.
Big start for their inning, but I tell you, Escobar's fortunate that this ball caromed off the fence in a funny way away from Nava, because Escobar went into his trot. If this comes off cleanly to Nava, he might have had a hard time making second. Just missed being a home run. Just jogging down the line, and then had to turn it up.
Well, that almost went out, just by a couple of feet.
Isn't it interesting that the Rays had trouble playing the monster in Boston, and here Nava has trouble playing the left field wall in Tampa Bay?
I had the same thought. It didn't cost him an extra base. And here is Lobatone now. Peavy Boston inside.
Really got to make a conscious effort to roll your hands, get this ball pulled to the right side. Napoli was playing in early, maybe thinking bunt. Now he's backed up.
Slicing foul in the seats. And a ball and a strike on Lobatone.
We talked about him his last time up when he singled again, and he appears to like the ball out away from him, where he can extend his arms and use the big barrel of that bat. Red Sox pin getting busy. That's Craig Breslow.
Breslow pitched across multiple innings last night. Scoreless game. Runner at second for the Rays, and Lobatone takes upstairs. 2 balls, 1 strike. He got himself into a 3-1 count his last time up, and he singled to right field.
None of the swings he's taken would indicate he's trying to get that runner over at all.
Yeah, Peavy got away with a couple pitches, so now it's a 2-2 count. He has the opportunity to throw that hard split change down, or that biting slider cutter you talked about to his back foot.
Here's a 2-2. Lobatone, a bouncing ball. Pedroia will make the play. But a productive out, and he'll get high fives in that Rays dugout as he advances Escobar.
Well, that changeup just stayed flat. It didn't do what Peavy had hoped it was going to do and get underneath the barrel of the bat. So that one stayed in the zone long enough to where he could roll his hands over and get the ground ball. See the pitch right there, not enough action on it, and that allowed Lobatone to do exactly what he had hoped to do and roll that top hand over.
He was very fortunate he hit it at somebody too. And that's an RBI.
So a runner at third base with one out. With fundamentals by the Rays. The Red Sox forced to bring their infield in. David DeJesus back to the top of Tampa Bay's batting order.
This is 3 for 24 in his career against Peavy now.
Right. Peavy starts it with a fastball. DeJesus bounced into the 1-6-3 double play in the third. That was the big moment for Peavy in this game up to this point. Rays had 2 on with 1 out. Had runners at first and second. And then he got DeJesus on the ground ball double play to get him out of the inning. And now Tampa Bay with their biggest threat since.
Good arms in the outfield for the Red Sox all around. For DeJesus, he's just looking for something he can drive to the outfield. You take a sacrifice fly and give Escobar a chance to try to score on the fly ball.
That was a great pitch that just missed inside. Crowding DeJesus.
Red Sox lead in this series 2 games to 1. And DeJesus with a base hit. Escobar comes in to score. David DeJesus puts the Rays on the board first.
Well, this pitch right here trying to go in, but see, it's elevated. That allows him to be able to get it lifted. He hit it hard, and with the drawn in infield, of course, that average for the hitter is a lot better because the chances for hits are a lot better. And the early 1-0 lead, which of course this crowd loves, and so do the Rays.
David DeJesus, an August pickup by the Rays. Drives in Escobar. Leadoff double. Lobatone advanced him. DeJesus picks him up. And now Will Myers. Still just 1 out. Strike 1 to Myers.
And if you're Peavy, you got to know 1 run's not going to beat you. I mean, 1-0 is something that you would love to have 2 runs or less every time you start a game. So keep it right there. He's already gotten a couple double plays. He's only had 6 on the year. He's got 2 in this game.
First inning, though, first signs, John, where he's missed with some location on some pitches, and it's hurt him. Everything else has been razor sharp.
Let's send it down to Rachel.
Well, guys, Will Myers ended up needing 2 IVs after cramping up last night. The team's athletic trainers told him emotion and nerves can make cramping worse, and it likely played a role here. Myers told me he's working on keeping his mindset in check tonight. Oh, and Evan Longoria told him it wouldn't hurt for him to lay off the Coca-Cola for breakfast either, guys.
Sugar bad. And a pressure at bat for Will Myers. And going through his steps. We've heard a lot about that. A lot of the sports psychology coming in. Especially with Joe Madden. Trying to keep his players calm and the steps that they go through. Myers has a great future. He is one of the young faces of Major League Baseball coming to the Rays from the Royals. He's involved in that deal with James Shields. They called him up in mid-June. And Myers instantly turned into one of their most productive players. Matter of fact, if you make the demarcation at his time of arrival, he led this Rays ball club in RBIs. And gave a big support bat around Longoria.
Before that last pitch, it was a pickoff attempt. DeJesus looked like he had his weight on his right foot, like he was about to cross over. Keep an eye on him if he goes here. Not a good pitch to run on 1 and 2.
A run is in for Tampa Bay. RBI single by DeJesus after the leadoff double by Escobar. And there he goes. And Myers drives one right field line, slicing foul. Out of reach for Victorino.
Well, I can tell you this early on, maybe the league didn't know much about Myers, and he made some good in-game adjustments. He crushed anything up over the middle of the plate. When they were able to throw breaking balls and get it out away, you've seen in this series how he struggled. So he trusts his hands, no batting gloves, but he hasn't been able to really square up anything, and no one's made any major mistakes over the middle of the plate where he could exactly extend the barrel of the bat and show that raw power that he has.
De Jesus goes. Myers fouls another one off.
It's 2 in a row and a 1-2 count. And under normal circumstances, not a good good count to run on, because the other team can pitch out without fear of too many problems running the count to 2-2. That's twice in a row for him. Rays are very aggressive now that they've got the lead.
Jesus has been running wind sprints over there at first base with all the foul balls. And we'll wind it up again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jesus stays put. And it's ball 2. See what he has in mind here. Peavy, the 2-2, and Myers in the air to left. And Nava will put it away for out number 2, and a big one for Jake Peavy as De Jesus retreats. And with a very hot hitter coming up, James Loney, John Farrell is going to go to his bullpen. So Peavy, 5 2/3 tonight, giving up the first and only run of the game here in the 6th. The Rays in their 5th elimination game in the last 9 days. They have the lead 1-0. Jake Peavy is out 5 2/3, gives up the first run of the game on an RBI single by De Jesus. The Rays have the lead, facing elimination. And with the left-hander James Loney coming up, John Farrell will go to Craig Breslow, who is appearing in his 3rd consecutive game in this ALDS.
You see the number on Breslow. He's been tough on lefties and righties. It really doesn't matter, but in this case, he's trying to get out the Rays. Tough left-handed hitter who has really squared up a lot of baseballs in this series.
Loney takes strike 1 from Breslow. Leadoff double by Yunel Escobar. To third on a ground ball, scored on the base hit by De Jesus. After all of the bullpen cards being pulled by the Rays, and it started early. In the 2nd inning, Joe Madden started to get into his bullpen. He's used 3 relievers tonight. John Farrell has to make his first pitching change here in the 6th inning. And finds himself down 1-0 to the Rays.
Jake Peavy did a great job tonight, and as any competitor, you never want to come out of the game, especially when you only give up 1 run. This game's already in the strange category.
And Loney chases one. Down he goes. So Loney strikes out, but the Rays score. 1-0 Tampa Bay. 6 in the books. Want to know the secrets of being a home run hitter? Tim Ferriss shows you how to knock it out of the park. Go to upwave.com/baseball. A tight one here in St. Pete, Tropicana Field. This series will move to Boston and Fenway Park if the Rays win this game. If Boston wins, then they will await the league championship series and the winner of the Detroit-Oakland game coming up on Thursday. More changes here as these managers are diving into their bench and bullpen. Jake McGee is next man up for the Rays out of the pen, and he will face Johnny Gomes to start the inning.
Well, McGee, power guy. Basically, here it is. Try and hit it 97 and above. Some think maybe closer material, especially if he can get a second pitch to just do anything but go straight. Hitters have had a hard time picking up the ball out of his hand.
Johnny Gomes pinch hitting to start it, and then he'll be followed by Drew and then Middlebrooks. Gomes pinch hitting for Saltalamacchia. Going to put Ross in the game behind the plate defensively for Boston. The former Ray, Johnny Gomes, takes strike one.
Thanks to the good work of Alex Torres, John, you were talking about that bridge guy and touchdown again last inning, but they've got it now with the lead set up where they've got their setup men in order for the 7th, 8th, getting to Rodney in the 9th.
They do. Johnny Peralta, of course, warming up just in case. 1-0 game, every pitch, every moment. Certainly the Red Sox trying to tie it up to try and change the strategy that the Rays have put forth to try and close this game out.
Just terrific work by Tampa Bay's bullpen tonight after Hellickson was removed in the second after not getting an out. Jamie Wright, Matt Moore went 2 innings, Torres 2 innings, and now McGee. And almost exclusively fastballs for McGee. He threw only fastballs last night. As Gomes lifts it high in the air. And Myers will give way to Jennings, and there is out number 1.
Can't blame him, though, for going after it. Certainly a little different situation, but Jennings patrols center field. Spacious center field. And he takes reign over either outfielder when there's close.
Well, John Farrell needing some offense here, and with a left-handed hitting shortstop in Stephen Drew due up, he is going to give it at bat to Xander Bogaerts now. 3rd youngest player in the major leagues. Farrell rarely pinch hits for Drew. Has not done it in this series in a spot like this. But Bogaerts, speed player, will stay into play short.
How many experience he's had coming off the bench. Big prospect for the Red Sox. Welcome to 98.
Out of Aruba. Bogaerts just turned 21 last week, a week ago today, as a matter of fact, and a swing and a miss. A guy who has only played in 17 games in the major leagues, just 50 career plate appearances in the big leagues, batting for the first time in the postseason. McGee's got him down, a ball and 2 strikes.
There's that off-speed pitch you were looking for. We dropped it down to 96.
Yeah.
Two and two, Xander Bogaerts. Didn't chase. It's not a big sample size, but Bogaerts did have a lot of success against left-handers in his brief time in the big leagues with the Red Sox before this postseason. 7 for 15 against left-handed pitching. Start of the year in Pawtucket, AAA.
Sorry, Brian. We did walk 2 last night, 1 and 2.
And he walks Bogaerts. And a fast player is aboard for Boston. McGee lets a young hitter get away. And now the Red Sox with the tying run aboard. And Will Middlebrooks coming to bat. A walk and a single tonight for Middlebrooks.
Tremendous patience for the young player to go up there and try to get that bat started against a firm fastball, but he really looked like he saw it pretty good after the third pitch.
Big swing by Middlebrooks.
And these left-handers have done a good job for the Rays on the Boston lineup. 5 innings so far of 2-hit shutout ball, and when there are runners on base, they help put a crimp in the running game. Make it a little tougher for these fast runners to get a good jump.
Bogarts did steal 3 bases. He's 13 games in the big leagues. AA and AAA to the major leagues, and now into the postseason. Bogarts. He represents the tying run. All in a strike.
Just a little off the plate, and he wanted that one.
Middlebrooks has 3 hits in this series. 3 for 11.
Did a nice job of hitting his last time up with that opposite field base hit when he was behind in the count 0-2 against Torres.
I feel like with each at bat, Middlebrooks, his approach is getting better. He's tracking pitches. It's resulting in some of his swings, and to your point, that base hit in right field. Staying on the pitch instead of pulling off the pitch. He had an aggressive first swing, and this against McGee. You can't try to do too much against a guy who's bringing it up there well past 96 miles an hour.
Shorten everything up.
And 1. McGee deals, and Middlebrooks had a great cut. Fouls it back. Middlebrooks has plenty of pop at his bat. 15 home runs last year. Didn't make his major league debut until May. Had a huge first month where he drove in 20 runs, but ultimately a broken wrist in August into this season. He's been coming back from that wrist injury. Started in the major leagues this season, struggled, went back to the minors. Inside, 96 with the fastball, and it's 2-2 on Middlebrooks.
If you don't have a secondary pitch, which he rarely throws, you have to do things like that with your fastball. Go in, out, up, down. You can't just keep pumping it down the middle and challenging these hitters. The deeper the counts, the more they get a chance to see that pitch, and their eyes start timing it.
Tying run at first. 2-2, and Middlebrooks fouls it back again.
He's taking nice, easy swings. He's not trying to swing as hard as McGee is throwing. He's taking a good cut, but still just a little tardy.
Rays are set up to turn a double play. Middlebrooks, another big cut. Not exactly a 2-strike approach, but why bother when you have McGee just pouring in the fastball?
Well, that one was right in on his hands, too. He did a good job of just fighting that off.
I'll tell you how good a guy's fastball is when you have no fear something else or wrinkle or any kind of movement is going to come at you, you're just trying to time that velocity because he has such a fluid motion. He doesn't force the velocity. It just comes out of his hand with late light. That's the difference between guys who look like they're throwing hard, meaning their motion requires it. This guy's nice and easy, letting it eat.
Another 2-2 coming. Bogarts at first. And that one just missed. Full count. And now we'll see if Farrell puts Bogarts in motion here.
A little close, but not in the box.
Saved the line. Pretty good take by Middlebrooks. And if Bogarts is going, got to make sure he doesn't leave too soon and get picked off.
Payoff pitch, stays put, and a swing and a miss. Jake McGee back to the heat and strikes out Middlebrooks for the second out.
That was a great battle on both ends, and the 3-2 pitch just overpowers him in the zone. You can see how frustrated he was because he had been sitting there timing it up and just misses over the middle of the plate.
And every one of those pitches he fouled off, and then that one that he missed, he was under. He just couldn't get on top of that fastball that had a little hop to it.
An 8-pitch battle between Middlebrooks and McGee, and all fastballs. And it ends in a strikeout for the second out of the inning.
Not much to tell other than fastballs in, out, just missing. Just missing is what the hitter's doing. Then he backs him away. That's the pitch right there. I thought he got away with, and another one there. Close take, and then see it. Strike 3. I think this meeting by Jim Hickey that we just saw was, look, they have a chance to be aggressive here with 2 outs, because if you get thrown out, you got your leadoff hitter coming in the next inning. So why not, if you're Boston, trying to take that base, challenge the arm of Lobaton and just see at what pitch you can take the best jump you can get and go for it.
Inning started with a Gomes fly ball out. Bogarts pinch hit and walked. And now the strikeout to Middlebrooks. Top of the order. Ellsbury takes ball 1. Bogarts in the minor leagues still 7 bases this season. Just had the 1 in the big leagues. And he is, at this point, not in a posture to try to steal the base. As a short lead. Ellsbury fouls it away.
If Ellsbury gets behind in the count 1-2 now, I would definitely send Bogarts, because if he does get thrown out, you still have Ellsbury coming back up next inning, as you said, John, with a fresh count.
Well, last night, Jake McGee threw 24 consecutive fastballs. And he has thrown 20 consecutive fastballs here tonight, facing his 4th batter. Into center field. That's going to fall. A base hit. Bogarts on his way to third. Throw comes into second. So Ellsbury comes through with a big hit. First and third with 2 gone. And now the Red Sox with the tying run 90 feet away. And the go-ahead run and the speedy Ellsbury at first.
Decision by Will Myers to not think aggressively to throw the runner out at third. He kept Ellsbury at first. Have a pitching change now.
Joe Madden on his way out. He'll take McGee back with him. Peralta coming in. Back to the bullpen goes Joe Madden. Now the Red Sox threatening with 2 on. There are 2 outs in this inning. First and third for Boston as Joel Peralta comes on.
Well, he's obviously come on to get the right-hander out. With Ellsbury at first, look for him to take second because that delivery takes so long to get to home. I'm sure they're not concerned with that right now. They're more concerned with, can they get the right-hander out to get this to a 1-0 lead still.
And with Victorino not switch hitting, it almost works to Victorino's favor here that he bats right-handed, because it kind of takes away the changeup.
There you have it. That last guy on that list probably will be Chris Archer if it goes to extra innings.
Well, you got right the left-hander, situational lefty, and then Rodney's the closer. Peralta the setup man, and he is in this game of the 7th, trying to get the final out of the 7th, and I'm sure Madden's going to try to squeeze 4 outs out of him if possible.
Faced Victorino last night, got him to pop up at a 1-2-3-7.
Rays scored in the bottom of the 6th. Now the Red Sox threaten. 2 outs, Victorino at the plate. And there goes Ellsbury. And that's in the dirt. Lobaton skips away. Coming to the plate. Bogarts, and he will score! And Ellsbury all the way to third. Tie game on a wild pitch.
There's so much about that play that's so Boston and veteran player and knowing what to do. Now watch Victorino just show bunt. He's not going to bunt, but just putting the bat out there in front of the catcher's face a little bit might have distracted him some, and unable to block that pitch in the dirt.
But with this high leg kick, there's no way to stop. They're not even covering, so they're giving it up. And then you see the read at third base with the help of Victorino. And now the same pressure with a runner on third in a 1-1 tie game.
2 outs. Credit Ellsbury with a stolen base. Run scores on a wild pitch. And Victorino, it's a strike. So Bogarts, what a job. He gets a pinch hit appearance. He walks the young hitter at his first career postseason at bat. Comes all the way around to score the run that ties it. Yesterday in the first inning, Ellsbury scored on a wild pitch. And you know he'll be ready to run with a pitch in the dirt. Victorino broken back. Long run for Escobar. He's got to hurry. It's not the time. And the Red Sox have taken the lead. Infield hit RBI. 2-1 Boston.
Bad thumb, bad forearm, got hit with the pitches last time up. Appeared to be in a lot of pain, and Shane Victorino did about the most important 75-foot single he's ever hit.
Well, how big is that wild pitch? Ellsbury on the move, ends up at third base, scores on an infield hit. And I would imagine he is going to be on the move shortly. Here's Dustin Pedroia, 2 in for Boston.
A couple innings ago, it's been relentless that these Red Sox have run the way they do and create pressure. And this is another example of speed. Not a hard hit ball, but with a shortstop playing as deep as he is, impossible to come in and throw him out.
Boston with back-to-back hits, Ellsbury and Victorino, and those two have been in the middle of everything for the Red Sox in the first 4 games of this series.
What a weapon Ellsbury is.
Boston answering the Rays' run-scoring 6, 2 here in the 7th. And a little soft line drive that's going to fall, and Pedroia with a base hit. And the line keeps moving. And now the big bat, a big Poppy coming up with 2 on and 2 out. 3 straight hits after the second out.
You know, the score doesn't show it. Boston up 2-1, but they've really put a lot of pressure on the Rays all game. And the Rays have responded. And in the weirdest of ways, a wild pitch and an infield hit gives the Red Sox the lead when they had an opportunity to break it open earlier in the game and didn't.
Peralta with a deep breath. 2-1 Boston. Great speed on the bags. Victorino with the throw and a big swing by Ortiz.
He's only 2 for 14 against Peralta, but we've seen Ortiz go the other way to get an RBI already in this series. Now that they have the lead 2-1, you're not going to see him trying to take 2 and go to left. He's going to be trying to launch one.
And I don't think you're going to see Victorino steal third, which would be easy to do because they want Ortiz to hit. Moving both guys up would result in a walk, in my opinion.
Ortiz 0-2 now. You're looking ahead to the Rays' 7th inning. Longoria, Zobrist, and Jennings.
Bit of a funny swing on that one. They have the shift on for him, but it's not like before, because with runners on, Escobar has to bird dog second base and hold Victorino close. And in case there's a ground ball, they need a force play there. So Zobrist is still deep and right, but he's all by himself in terms of the shift.
Tying run scored on a wild pitch. Bogarts. And the RBI by Victorino to put him ahead. 0-2 with David Ortiz. Swing and a miss. So Peralta gets out of the inning, but damage done. Boston trying to play their way to the league championship series. 2 runs in the 7th, and they have the lead. Boston with 2 in the top of the 7th inning. They lead 2-1 as we go to the home half. The Rays are coming up and running out of time. Red Sox 9 outs away for the right to play for the pennant. Xander Bogaerts in the game to play short. David Ross will do the catching. And John Farrell is going to let it ride with Craig Breslow as Evan Longoria is set to lead off for the Rays. Ellsbury does it again. His 9th hit of the series, steals a base, which is his 4th of the series, and he scores his 7th run. We're in the 4th game. And his run put him ahead. Give Farrell a lot of credit for trusting the young backup infielder Bogaerts to try to get something going, and he ends up scoring the tying run on a wild pitch. Breslow against Longoria.
I'm guessing that Breslow's still in there to pitch to Longoria, and even though they've got a couple of right-handers in their bullpen, because Breslow's changeup is so good and it really runs down and away from right-handers.
Longoria 1 for 6 in his career against Breslow. A small sample size. Breslow has been the go-to left-hander for Farrell, and a swing and a miss. All in 2 strikes on Longoria.
Good sinking action on that fastball, running away from him.
Yesterday with the Rays down 3-0 in the 5th, Longoria the 3-run homer against Clay Buchholz to tie it. And a little half swing, and he goes. Paul Emmel, the home plate umpire, rings him up, and Breslow strikes out Evan Longoria for the first out of the inning.
You don't think there's a ton of strategy in the American League versus the National League? You might be right on most cases. You see the swing right there. But this has not been your traditional American League type games. There have been a ton of decisions the managers had to make, matchups, pinch runners, pinch hitters, that typically don't happen in the American League set lineups.
And Zobrist, the switch hitter, is 0 for 2 tonight. It's been a wild game on the pitching side for the Rays, having to go to their bullpen in the 2nd inning Red Sox had a lot of opportunities early to put the pressure on the Rays. Finally breaking through with 2 in the 7th.
But the job Breslow's done here. Came in, made short work of Loney, I think, on 3 pitches to end the last inning with a runner on. And then struck out the most dangerous hitter in their lineup right there and made Longoria strike out on a check swing. The replay showed clearly that he did go.
2 balls, no strikes. There's strike 1. Oakland A's and the Detroit Tigers headed to Oakland Thursday for a Game 5. After the Tigers won today, 8-6. Max Scherzer got the win today for Detroit out of the bullpen. Boston trying to advance to the American League Championship Series to await the winner of that game on Thursday.
Ross does a nice job trying to steal strikes on the outside part. And what I mean by that, he stays real still and he's trying to catch the ball in to make it look like it's catching the corner. See how low he gets with that glove. And he invites the pitcher, who has been really good, by the way, on the low fastball away. Puts pressure on the hitter to think that looks like a strike and go after it.
Boston has ended up with a very good defensive lineup, maybe the best they can put out there. Bogaerts is in for Drew. He is a shortstop by trade, and even though Bogaerts has played in just 8 big league games at short, he is a very capable shortstop, and Zobrist is down on strikes. And Zobrist is barking at Paul Emmel on his way out. Craig Breslow, 3 batters faced, 3 strikeouts.
Well, usually they check these, but the last 2, the home umpire definitely was convinced that they went across, and he was right both times. The hitter typically wants the umpire to check. Wouldn't have mattered, I think, in either case, because they would have got the same result. The home umpire made this call.
Yeah, they both tried real hard to stop, but neither one did. Pitch is biting down and in on them.
So back-to-back strikeouts in the 7th inning on little half swings. Joe Madden sticking up for his player there with that argument. And now a meeting at the mound. Juan Nieves, the pitching coach of the Red Sox. Desmond Jennings due up. Take it back to the top of this inning. And the play that gave the Red Sox the lead, a little infield hit by Shane Victorino. Ellsbury was at third because of the wild pitch. And Victorino hustling down the line. Red Sox get their 2 runs on a wild pitch and an infield hit. Ball doesn't leave the infield.
Red Sox speed. I mean, it's a different ball club. We talked about at the beginning of this series how with players they've added, especially Victorino, it's allowed them a lot more ways to score runs and to manufacture runs, and they certainly did that there in the top of the 7th.
Desmond Jennings is 0 for 2. Boston in the 8th inning will have Napoli and then Nava due up. And then you'd have David Ross, who entered the game defensively in this inning. All the 2 strikes.
Jennings can do the same thing if he can get aboard even with 2 out. Chance that they'd send him.
We're seeing where those pitches are ended up. That's late life on a fastball. The Rays hitter are seeing that closer to the plate than it actually is, which is credit to Breslow and his ability to pitch off that corner. And really, they're all balls that they're swinging at lately away, but they sure don't look like it when it leaves his hands.
Breslow has struck out every batter he's faced. And the 1-2 to Jennings is low. 2-2. John Farrell said before this series began that his most reliable reliever until you get to the ninth is Breslow, and he'll use him in a lot of different situations, not just a matchup lefty. And a swing and a miss, and Breslow, 4 batters faced, 4 punch outs. To the 8th we go. NBA basketball returns with an opening night doubleheader on TNT. Derrick Rose makes his return to the court when the Heat host the Bulls, followed by the Battle of LA, Lakers, Clippers. Tuesday, October 29th, only on TNT. What a great job by Craig Breslow. Gets 4 huge outs for the Red Sox. And 4 strikeouts as we head to the 8th, and Napoli leading off. 2-1 Boston. Trying to eliminate the Rays and move on to the ALCS.
Well, Breslow, you can't say enough. I mean, when you think about right-left matchups, it really didn't matter. The way he was throwing the baseball, John Farrell felt that, look, I'll take my chances against right or left.
We went right through the middle of their lineup. 4 straight strikeouts. He got a big welcome back to the dugout, too, Breslow.
Boston taking the lead with 2 in the 7th on a wild pitch and an infield hit. Red Sox threatened early in this game. Check out Breslow as he comes back to the dugout. And it looks like Farrell is saying, don't get into celebration mode just yet. I might want you to go back out. Interesting to see if he does return. Don't be high-fiving too firm, I guess, huh? Is that what you got out of that meeting?
I like your lip reading. Like, very professional.
And Peralta talking to himself. And you go back and you start to look at the 7th inning for the Red Sox, and as Lobaton is the star of the night, grabbed all the headlines with that walk-off home run last night. The wild pitch that is charged to Peralta, that's a play that a catcher has to make, and it changed the complexion of the inning. Not only did it allow the Tiger run to score, but it put Ellsbury at third base, and he scored on the infield hit.
But you can't forget about the walk. Down in the count, 2 strikes, and worked it for a walk that eventually ended up being. It wasn't a leadoff walk. It was with 1 out. But Bogarts, coming off the bench, not really having much experience, showed patience. And that patience paid off in a big way.
If there is a Game 5, John Lester would pitch. If the Red Sox advance, of course, he'd be the Game 1 starter in that best of 7 ALCS. Quick release and a called strike 3. Napoli rung up. Hitters hate that, but it's legal with nobody on. The hurry up with no set.
Good pitch, too. I don't know if he was complaining more about the call or not. It looked like a good one.
Second strikeout for Peralta.
Flip side, the Red Sox have done a great job. Only 1 walk in the last 12 innings that they have taken the mound. So no free passes, with the exception of 1 time, and you got to get hits to score.
1 gone for Daniel Dava. Back around on the left side.
I thought that was a key for Peavy tonight, John. Talked about him early in the game about a lot of walks in recent starts, but none tonight. It compounded any issues he had through his work in 5 2/3. He gave up 5 hits, no walks.
Nava as a left-handed batter tonight, a single and a walk. Struck out as a right-handed hitter in the 6th inning. Greg Breslow. What a job. I'm not sure his night is over just yet.
Out of Yale University.
If you're looking ahead to the inning, the bottom of the order is coming up for the Rays. Kelly Johnson, a left-handed batter, is the designated hitter scheduled to lead off. Certainly, Madden has options, however.
That might be simply a situation to get Madden to make the move, and then John can make a move and counter with the right hand.
Yeah, as soon as a pinch hitter would be announced, then Farrell could go get the right-hander and bring him in if he wanted.
Madden and Dave Martinez, his bench coach, going through the scenarios. Two balls and a strike on Nava. 3-1.
I think he's thrown 70 pitches already down there in the last 2 innings, but he's definitely ready to go. And just in case, again, have to move everybody up in a situation like now when you're down 2-1 instead of being up 1-0.
Tazawa, the typical setup man for Boston. Fernando Rodney with that Rays bullpen. 3 balls, 1 strike. Full count. Boston won the first 2 games of the series. They played a near perfect ball game on Friday night after that long layoff, 4 days off to start this series. 12-2 victory, then a 7-4 win on Saturday. Hold and serve in their home ballpark. A dramatic finish last night on the Lobertone walk-off to force it to a Game 4. Boston up 2-1 in the series, up 2-1 tonight in the 8th. And there is a way to the finish line for the Red Sox without having to face Evan Longoria. They retired 6 up, 6 down to end the game. Otherwise, he'll bat.
These Rays fans are all on their feet and have been for a couple of innings in the lower bowl of the stadium, trying their best to help their ball club out.
They have seen their ball club get themselves into elimination game night after night, it seems. This is their 5th do-or-die ball game in the last 9 days. Another payoff pitch. Nava in a good battle with Peralta. He fouls another one away.
Everything away, and for the most part, Peralta with his off-speed pitches, especially his changeup that runs away from left-handed hitters. Nava's trying to make sure he's got that covered and fouling off the fastballs in the process.
Rapley was the first out. Struck him out looking. This is the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Nava's fouled all 4 pitches here. And he doesn't bite. What an at-bat by Daniel Nava. Peralta went with his signature pitch. Nava didn't chase. And there is another base runner. And you have to start thinking about Peralta's pitch count here. Some high stress pitches in the 7th, and now a man on with 1 out for David Ross.
That's 5 walks given to the Red Sox tonight.
David Ross certainly loves to pull the ball. That's his preferential sweet spot, looking to attack the fastball.
Got a hit in his only start. Played for the Braves in the wild card game last year against the Cardinals and went deep. Got some pop. Peralta stays away from him. Didn't get the call, and the count, a ball and no strikes.
Ross has always been a good fastball hitter, even a good high fastball hitter, but I don't know if you'll see one in the inner half of the plate from Peralta.
Takes off and a swing and a miss. Throw to second is on the mark and out at second base. Red Sox had to hit and run on. Lobatone cuts down Nava for out number 2.
This is a great catch and throw. He gets out and puts it right on the money.
As a base runner on a hit and run play, you're taught not to get picked off. You rely on the hitter to make contact because you're going to get a bad jump. So no chance for Nava there when Ross swung and missed.
And now Peralta with the bases empty. 1 ball, 1 strike on Ross.
Great try there because Ross doesn't run real well, and a ground ball gets you a double play. So up 2-1, stay aggressive. That aggressive approach is really, as we talked about, put so much pressure on the Rays that hit and run executed well right there would have put runners at first and third more than likely.
Of the order coming up in the bottom of the 8th for the Rays. Peralta trying to get him there, trailing by a run. Two and two, David Ross. Peralta with a strikeout to end it. Couple of Ks in the inning. Rays are coming up. The Red Sox are 6 outs away from advancing. ALDS coverage on TBS presented by T-Mobile. Coming down to the end, Delman Young announced as the pinch hitter, hitting for Kelly Johnson. John Farrell sends Craig Breslow back to the mound. Breslow got the final out of the 6th. He struck out the side in the 7th. Has 4 consecutive strikeouts. 6 consecutive strikeouts is the postseason record in a single game. Last done by Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw did it in game 1 of the NLDS. And if you thought Farrell was going to use Breslow as a decoy, he is going to let it ride with Delman Young. First pitch, Hacker with the Rays down a run. Young swings, bouncer to Napoli. Breslow right there for him. Boy, Breslow just keep getting big outs.
It's 5 outs on 19 pitches, and 4 of them are strikeouts. 4 of the out strikeouts.
There's a lot of ways you could go with this game. Talking about momentum swings and big plays. Certainly the 2-run inning offensively for Boston as they take the lead, but I don't think anybody has been more impressive than Craig Breslow at this point.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. That late life on the fastball, and certainly his manager knows when he sees something working and is pretty good and hasn't had to go to a ton of pitches, confusing everybody with the righties ready.
And Escobar slices one foul. Escobar scored the only Rays run. He started the 6th inning with a double. almost hit one out. He hit it to the top of the fence in left field. And then he scored on the David DeJesus RBI single.
Well, for the Rays, the key right now is get one guy on base, and obviously more. The reason you get one guy on base, you guarantee Longoria to hit in the ninth. If they all make outs, it falls short of your best hitter having that one more chance to be a hero.
Well, by now I would assume that Tampa Bay hitters have come back to the dugout saying, you know, look middle away. Everything's running away. Fastball's tailing away from the right-handers, changeup. Escobar took him the other way.
Had an inside-out swing there as he fouls it back. Escobar is 2 for 2 tonight. A single in the third inning, and then he doubled in the sixth.
Longest outing of the year for Breslow, 2 1/3 innings in July at Seattle, but it took him 43 pitches. Tonight he's at 22, and he's worked an inning and 2/3.
He's retired 5 straight. That out by Young, the first out that has not been a strikeout for Breslow. And the 1-2 and a bouncing ball to short. And Bogaerts makes the play. Throw to first is late. Escobar, an infield hit. And there is the base runner the Rays have been looking for. The tying run is aboard.
Great play, great athletic play. Gets up, makes the throw, and of course, Escobar knows he's got it beat out in time.
Well, even though he doesn't get the out, the young shortstop in his first postseason probably glad to actually get one hit at him so he can make a play and get into this game. And Nieves is on his way to the mound. And guess who's coming up for the Tampa Bay Rays?
I think they're just giving more time for the bullpen to get ready.
They're throwing a complete game down there.
They are working on a complete game.
Lobaton, the switch hitter. He was in the left side of the box last night. One of the great moments in Rays history and in postseason history. Into the 10th. Game-winning home run, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th inning. And as Lobaton was coming to the plate and all ready to hit, Joe Madden calls him back. It's going to be Sean Rodriguez, and we'll see if that forces the hand of John Farrell here.
The chess match continues.
Well, tough league, right? You hit a walk-off home run, you get pinch hit for him. Farrell makes the change. Tazawa finally coming in. They're here at Tropicana Field in St. Pete, 2-1 Boston, and the wheels are in major motion for these two managers. Let's start with the pitching side of things, John, because now Tazawa is in. He's been warming up for a while now, but he's finally in this game.
He's finally in, and he forced the hand. You got to make a decision as a manager. Who do you want to face? Who do you want to bring in? Both guys are going at it. Tazawa's the guy now.
All right, and on the offensive side for Joe Madden, he's burned through a couple of players here.
Who said you didn't pinch hit and double switch in the American League? There's a lot of wheels turning right now, and Matt Joyce is a guy who's got a lot of pop in his bat. He has really struggled here at the end of the year, but he's a guy who's had a good season overall for the Rays, and Joe Madden's hoping he can come up with a big hit here.
So it started with Lobaton as the originally scheduled hitter. He's a switch hitter, but didn't want the matchup against Breslow. So Rodriguez was announced as the pinch hitter. Now Junichi Tazawa is put into the game. And you see his numbers from the regular season. A very good year for Boston. And then Madden counters. Rodriguez is just a decoy, and it's going to be Matt Joyce, the hometown kid, who will step up representing the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the 8th. Keep all that straight? How's your scorecard?
I stopped a long time ago. You guys are good. I look to my left, I look to my right. Got it covered. For Tazawa, he's got a firm fastball, as most guys do. Good off speed, attacks the hitter, attacks the zone. trying to keep the ball out of the middle of the plate. Joyce has one thing in his mind besides getting a hit. Trying to get it over that fence would be the ideal 2-run homer.
Tazawa pitched last night, 2/3 of an inning, got a strikeout. Pretty efficient outing for Tazawa. Joyce takes strike one. Matt Joyce grew up in Tampa. Spent many days and nights as a teenager here in this ballpark watching the then Devil Rays. There's been a monumental struggle down the stretch for Joyce. He got the start as a designated hitter last night.
An 0 for 4, a strikeout and 2 foul outs.
He represents the go-ahead run for Tampa Bay. And he fouls it away.
He got a pitch right there. It wasn't middle, but it was a fastball. Good split. Probably going to go to the off speed. But you look at him set up right there, but that pitch, outer third.
Joyce looks like he's getting out on that front side pretty quick too. And hands are going with him and it's slowing him down.
No balls, 2 strikes. Red Sox have a shift on. Joyce is a dead pull hitter. Escobar at first on an infield hit.
Firm split finger. The first one he threw kind of rolled in the strike zone. He got a break. Got a strike called. That one was much more firm and going away from the left-hander. What you really want to do with a split finger is throw it down the middle of the plate and trust it's going to fade away from the left-hander and let the action go where it wants to.
David Ross, excellent defensive catcher. He throws the ball well. Escobar below average speed at first. Red Sox are looking to turn a double play here and get out of this inning. And the 1-2, and Joyce takes it low.
David Ross was doing there was asking the pitcher to shake his head without giving any signs, almost letting the hitter know that maybe at off speed, maybe the split's coming, just playing games with
make him think.
Hitter, make him think, and no signs were given, and he went to the fastball.
Outfield very deep. Trying to make sure nothing's hit over their head with that runner at first. They concede a single.
2-2. Long look by Tazawa. And Joyce, a swing and a miss. Tazawa with a huge strikeout. And Matt Joyce, the second out of the inning.
That's that split finger with good tilt, 88 miles an hour, coming in like a fastball, going below the barrel of the bat. And, Brian, no change.
Yes, we do. And Uehara is going to head back to the mound. Farrell's going to ask him to get the final 4 outs. Top of the order coming up. Well, every good closer wants to get right back on the horse, and after Uehara gives up the walk-off last night, he is back on the horse here at Tropicana Field, back on the mound, and Farrell's going to ask 4 outs out of him. And he pitches with a 2-1 lead with 2 outs in the 8th.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, and we're seeing a different trend of less and less 1+ inning saves in baseball.
4 for Uehara this year, of at least 4 outs. And one of the things that impresses me the most about those regular season numbers, 101 strikeouts, 9 walks in 74 1/3 innings. He only gave up a 130 average. That's why everybody said, I wasn't expecting that last night when Lobaton hit one into the tank in right center off of it.
So it's going to be David DeJesus who drove in the first Rays run, gave him the lead in the 6th inning. Austin scored 2 in the 7th. That's where we sit here in the 8th. 2 outs, Escobar at first. He reached on an infield hit, his 3rd hit of the night. And DeJesus, an August pickup. Took a shot at it.
people don't understand, because you don't do it a lot, there's an adrenaline pump when you come in as the closer. Typically in the ninth, you know you got to get 3 outs, 2 outs, whatever that inning calls for. That adrenaline's rushing, you get it done. In the eighth, you have to get ready for that adrenaline pump and then sit out and then recreate it again in the ninth. In a perfect world, you hope your team scores some more runs and it's a little easier in the ninth.
Strike 2.
He loves to work above the zone. That one was in the zone, obviously, but he got DeJesus to chase that first one you see right at the top of the zone on pitch tracks. He loves to work up out of the zone and get them to chase, get the hitters to chase, and then with a split, get them to chase down below the zone.
38-year-old Koji Uehara. He has been lights out in the second half for Boston. Misfires. He's been in the postseason here in the big leagues before, back in 2011 with the Rangers and also in 2012. Uehara was part of that trade with Baltimore that sent Chris Davis from the Rangers to the Orioles. Uehara has now given up 4 home runs in the postseason in just 6 games, including that home run last night by Lobaton.
Well, he doesn't wow the radar gun, but what he does do is make it difficult for the hitter to pick up the ball out of his hand. That little jump that he has towards the hitter puts a little deception on his fastball. They just don't see it. They don't square it up.
It's a 95-mile-an-hour jump.
Yeah,
but it's about a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
One and 2 to DeJesus. Check on Escobar at first. Madden has burned through a lot of players in this 8th inning. He's now back to the top of the order. There won't be any pinch hit opportunities necessarily here. Young is hit. He bounced out. Rodriguez and Joyce have both been used in this inning. Tying run at first. DeJesus takes one off the plate. Good take. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Fastball away.
Barring a pickoff, like John said, the Red Sox are going to have to go through Loney and Longoria now, no matter what.
It's a good opportunity to go back to that split if he wants to. 2 and 2. Got him looking away for that fastball.
And DeJesus takes another tough pitch.
There was the split, and it just floated on him that time. So 3-2, you got to make sure the pitcher goes home. You're going to get a running start, of course, at first. But you're still not sure, because he has such great command, you're still not sure what he's going to do. You can't come off the fastball, but you got to respect the split and adjust last minute.
It would be very tough for Escobar to score on a base hit to the gaps. It'd be tough to get one to the gaps. The outfielders are extremely deep and all run well, trying to prevent the extra base hit. Escobar is going to get a head start.
Napoli's going to play behind Escobar to give him a little more room with the left-handed hitter in case DeJesus pulls one.
Takes off and a swing and a miss. Uehara strikes out DeJesus. Strands a runner. Red Sox still lead. And just 3 defensive outs away from advancing to the LCS, a 2-1 lead. And let's take it back to the strikeout.
Well, this is just not thinking he's going to throw this pitch. Has good tilt, but it's over the middle of the plate, and he's trying to get the barrel out for a fastball. And you can just tell right now he's frustrated because that command and the guts to throw that pitch, look, he's proven it all year.
Got to have a short memory when you're a closer, and tip your hat to Uehara. Comes out after giving up the walk-off last night, and a big strikeout to end the inning. Tazawa and Uehara with back-to-back Ks. So here we go to the 9th. Got some changes here for Tampa Bay, and on the mound it's their closer, Fernando Rodney.
Rodney had a hiccup last time out, but his team rewarded him with a walk-off home run. He's going to need a much quicker inning, because more than likely he could go 2 if his team ties it up.
Xander Bogaerts to lead off. New catcher is Jose Molina. Matt Joyce will stay into play left field. And the new battery. Bogaerts has had his moment in his first career plate appearance in the postseason. Bogaerts pinch hitting for Drew in the 7th. A tough battle in that 7th inning. Drew the walk, and then he would come around to score the tying run. He scored on the wild pitch.
There are so many things you can point to in this series. So many guys who've had really good series, good moments, big hits. But I said earlier in the series that the greatest play might be that one walk that a player is willing to take and pass the baton on to the next guy, and he certainly did it with no experience whatsoever.
Rodney had the blown save last night, giving up the run. His command was in question in that 9th inning. He did get out of the inning with the game tied, setting up the dramatics for Lobaton.
When asked today, Joe Madden explained why they pitched to Pedroia last night, 2nd and 3rd, less than 2 outs, first base open, up by 1 run. He said because, quite frankly, Randall Rodney's control wasn't good enough. If we walk Pedroia, there's no guarantee that he's not going to walk in a run.
Yeah, no room for error was what he didn't want to put his pitcher in.
Payoff pitch. Takes another walk. How about that? 2 walks for him in his 2 plate appearances, and he's aboard, and a huge insurance run for Boston. I'll bring up Will Middlebrooks. I thought it was interesting what Joe Madden said as well, talking about last night's game, and you could apply it to tonight's game, but he felt like if they go to the bottom of the 9th tied, as opposed to being down a run, it changes everything. Well, now they are down a run at least. And so now Uehara, who just got the final out of the 8th, pitching with more confidence and a run to work with.
I can just tell you, Chris Archer now up in the pen. Even though your closer's out there in the 9th, and he's been your guy most of this year and last year, you still can't allow the Red Sox to get any more momentum or runs.
Middlebrooks takes a strike, and it's relatively quiet in here with the Rays down a run. This is an anxious crowd. Don't have that 9th inning save opportunity with the closer mentality at this point. Rodney pitched in the wild card game and then made his first appearance in this series yesterday.
With Ellsbury and Victorino doing so much damage coming up behind Middlebrooks, you know they'd like to get Bogaerts to second base somehow, give those 2 guys a chance.
Last year, Rodney, 95 to 98 miles an hour, could throw it whenever he wanted, could throw his changeup whenever he wanted. The hitter had no chance, virtually. I mean, the numbers he put up were ridiculous. This year, of course, the World Games early in spring training, but his command has not been as good, and the respect for that fastball has not been as much. Therefore, some of the struggles.
Swing and a miss. Rodney comes back, he strikes out Will Middlebrooks after the leadoff walk, first out of the inning for Rodney.
He lets it fly over the middle of the zone. Of course, there's your 97.
Back to the top of the order. Koji Uehara, the first batter he faced, waiting his turn to go back out for the 9th inning.
Look what these 2 guys have done in this series. Ellsbury and Victorino at the top of the order. They're the difference makers. 15 hits. They've scored 9 runs. 5 stolen bases between them. They have hits in all 4 games. Victorino's been hit 3 times, so he's been on base that way too. They've been incredible.
Ball skips away and on his way to second base goes Bogaerts. Another wild pitch. Bogaerts now in scoring position with one away.
Of course, he just pulls this crossfire. No chance for Molina, really. He's got to play first base here and pick it with a catcher's glove. Not easy to do. But one thing leads to another. And what I mean by that is Ellsbury leads to the next guy. And the next guy leads to Pedroia. That's what makes him tough, because there's pressure when Ellsbury's on. It affects the pitcher, which in turn affects the pitches to the next guy. So it really works in that way. And having those two guys at the top of the lineup, man, I'll tell you what, it puts a lot of pressure. You've got to get the leadoff guy out in their lineup. And when you don't, they normally score.
Last night, Ellsbury had 3 hits. He has 9 hits in this series in 4 games, and he has scored 7 runs. Got a chance to play run producer here as Rodney is hit badly up and in.
You see that front side wanting so much to help his arm. You can't allow that front side to pull, because it's just going to change the angle on the backside, which is your throwing arm. You have to stay quiet, and he does most of the time, but he's pulling that shoulder just a little much.
He misfires again. Ellsbury walks on 4 straight. First and second, 1 out.
Because he doesn't generate much with his lower body, what I mean is it's just a little leg kick. It kind of stutter steps, and he's all upper body. With that front side going left towards first base, there's nothing behind it.
8 walks issued now by Tampa Bay, none by Boston.
Jim Hickey's going to give him a couple tips with the mechanical thing that they know works for him to set in his mind. You really can only focus, at least most pitchers can, on one thing. You can't say do this, that, and that. I'm pretty sure he's going to say stay back, trust your stuff, pitch in the strike zone, and let's get a double play. Not as easy to say with Victorino, but let's get an out.
Red Sox lead 2-1. Trying to finish off the Rays tonight and advance for the right to play for the pennant. The team with the best record in the American League. Boston's next victory, if it comes this season, would be their 100th of the season.
Ellsbury was trying to get the dugout's attention to get that brace for him to put on when he runs the bases, try to protect his hand and wrist.
Boston with good speed on the bags. Victorino coming up. 2 on, 1 away. Tight, and Rodney nowhere close right now. Five consecutive balls. Had the strikeout on Middlebrooks for the first out, but he's given up 2 walks. Red Sox are a hit away from doing significant damage to the Rays' hopes. 2-0. Wesley Wright, situation a left-hander. Archer looks like he's ready if asked to come in.
Those are the last 2 guys left in their bullpen.
Wow. 3-0. I don't think Joe Madden can sit on this much longer. I figure this is going to be his last hitter if he doesn't retire Victorino.
Such a tough situation from basically from the second inning on. You knew this potential, if they didn't play it perfect and hold the lead the whole way, he was going to be faced with these kind of decisions. But you don't expect the closer to get this wild.
Great speed on the bases, both at second and in first. We know about Ellsbury, but Bogaerts can run too. Base hit's going to put a lot of pressure on the outfielders. Try to charge the ball and get it in quickly.
3 balls and a strike. And Victorino pulls 1 foul.
Now in the past, especially last year, this 3-2 pitch would have been a changeup. Guy getting the bat out trying to catch that heater. Same thing we saw with the split finger with 3-2 pitch from Uehara. I'm not sure he's got enough feel or touch mechanically or mentally to be able to throw that pitch, but it would take the bat right out of the hands if he does throw the changeup.
I'll be surprised if the runners aren't going.
count. He hits Victorino. Wow. Shane Victorino hit for the second time tonight and the fourth time in this division series. And Rodney imploding here in the ninth. 2 walks and a hit batter, and he's out.
That's not even close. And that's just, you're given no choice now for Madden.
And Rodney leaves a mess for his bullpen. Madden going back in there. Bases loaded for the Sox. Well, the Red Sox lead 2-1. Have the bases loaded here in the ninth inning. 2 walks and a hit batter by Fernando Rodney. And back to the bullpen for Joe Madden. This started in the second inning. 8 pitchers used tonight by the Rays. That ties a postseason divisional series record as Chris Archer, one of Madden's starting pitchers, will enter the game.
Tough spot for the youngster. Got a live arm. Devastating slider against right-handers. Got a little flat later in the year, but huge moment right here as the bases are loaded again for the Red Sox. A lot of traffic on the bases. Only 2 runs. 8 pitchers now.
Bogarts walked to lead off the inning. Ellsbury was walked as well, and then Victorino hit by a 2-strike pitch. By the way, Victorino has set a divisional series record for times hit by a pitch.
That's a tough record.
Yeah, he just not have that one.
Got 4 of them. Here's Pedroia. And all that has transpired tonight, it feels like the Red Sox are up 6, 7, 8 to 1 right now. It's a 2-1 ball game.
They've left 9 men on base.
Tampa Bay trying to get a ground ball here, turn a double play to get out of the inning. Pedroia runs well, and he lines one to right. Backing up is Myers, makes a catch, tagging and scoring is Bogarts, and Dustin Pedroia gives the Red Sox some insurance. 3-1 Boston. Pedroia with the RBI on the sacrifice fly.
I said earlier tonight, you'd rather see anybody come up than Pedroia with a chance to drive in a run. He's almost automatic. Another sacrifice fly for him in this series. He just does what needs to be done, handles the bat, got that guy in from third.
And for good measure, Joe Madden is going to get all of his pitchers in the game. Here comes Wesley Wright. We'll take another timeout. David Ortiz scheduled to hit, and Joe Madden making the pitching change. Going with the matchup here is Wesley Wright, the 9th pitcher used by the Rays tonight.
That's all they've got down there. If this game gets tied up and he wants to go any deeper, he's going to have to go find David Price or somebody to go put their spikes on.
And actually, looking down there, David Price, he's tucked away from our cameras, but he is jogging down behind the wall. There's the bullpen story. Jeremy Hellickson started this game, did not get out of the second inning. Matter of fact, didn't get an out in the second inning. It has been Jamie Wright, Matt Moore, Torres, McGee, who gave up the 2 runs. Peralta, Rodney, Archer, and now Wright. 9 pitchers. Boston up 3-1. David Ortiz could deliver a serious dagger here to the Rays. Wright misses.
They're going to give Victorino the bag if he wants it. He's trying to get over a chest bruise, ribs. You see the first baseman playing back.
Ortiz, 1 out of 3 with a walk tonight. Victorino takes off and a bouncing ball out to Zobrist. And from the rover position, he makes a play to win the inning. Red Sox get a big one. Insurance run on the board. Uehara back out to try to close it out. Red Sox 3 outs away from a trip to the American League Championship Series, where they would wait the winner of the Tigers and the A's on Thursday. They are going to a Game 5. This is Game 4. Uehara came on to get the last out of the 8th. Pedroia drives in an insurance run. It's 3-1 Boston, and now the story becomes Uehara, who has been sitting for a while in that dugout.
Yeah, and you just got to get yourself back in the mode. The good news is they rewarded you with 1 run. It would have been different if the Red Sox didn't even score and all that time had taken place, but it gives you a hiccup. You always want a hiccup as a closer, meaning you get 1 mistake. But in this case, with Longoria waiting in the wings, if you can face him with nobody on, it's a lot better than having a guy on.
I talked to David Ross before the game tonight, and he was talking about last night's game. Franklin Morales was in the pitch in the 8th, and he said, I just kept saying to myself, don't walk the leadoff guy. Get the leadoff guy. And I'm sure that's what is on his mind right here with this first batter, Will Myers.
Uehara is a strike-throwing machine. Rarely walks batters. Will Myers leads off. Loney to follow, then Longoria. Bounces the first offering.
Really surprised by that first pitch, but you know, hey, you think a young kid's going to attack your fastball, and he throws a split right out of the gate. So
you're wondering about Uehara's command. He has not walked a batter since August 3rd against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
This year?
This year. But Myers fouls it back.
88 miles an hour, and it looked like he was reaching, like the ball had been by him.
Great deception in that delivery.
If the Rays should tie this game and they go into extra innings, it will be David Price. As Myers takes a ball. 2-1 the count. Center field. Back is Ellsbury, and he's got it for the out. 1 gone for Uehara. 2 outs away from a trip to the ALCS.
You don't care how many feet of outs you get, especially now. Keep it in the strike zone, keep it in the park. As long as nobody gets on base, even this solo home run, if it would be one, isn't going to hurt you.
And the Rays are thinking that they just got to have 1 base runner. Get 1 base runner on, and especially in front of Longoria, if they can get that done and have a chance, just to have a chance to tie it up.
Here's James Loney. He's had a great postseason so far. 3 hits last night. Uehara, strike 1.
You know, it's amazing to think all the things that took place to get here for the Rays, and scratching their crawl and doing everything they can, and David Price is warming up.
And a bouncing ball foul. Uehara has him down, no balls and 2 strikes.
You wonder, with the structure that's put in place here with the Rays, could it be the last time that David Price has this jersey on? Based on the past and what they've been able to do with previous guys in his situation, making that trade to stay young and to have young arms, who knows?
Loney in a hole. Uehara heels, and it just missed.
That pitch looks like it hits a wind shear or something and just dies and begins to move away from a left-handed hitter.
Ready for a 1-2. And Loney off the end of the bat hit the glove of Uehara. Pedroia's right there and gets the out. And Boston an out away. Uehara slowed it down. Pedroia had to reroute. But able to get out number 2.
Not sure if this would have got up the middle either way, but he did slow it down and deflect it.
Loney doesn't run extremely well.
And now Uehara's got the Tampa Bay Rays down to their last hope. 2-run lead in the ninth. Evan Longoria. Uehara trying to complete a 4-out save. At a 1.09 earned run average. Almost unheard of in the big leagues for the amount of innings that he threw. A swing and a miss.
Well, if the Red Sox can pull this out 1 strike away, they got everything working for them moving forward. You got a Game 5 going on that exhausted Scherzer. Now Verlander, same with Oakland, so you couldn't ask for a better situation. Some days to rest. 1 strike away from that.
0-2 to Longoria. The dirt. Good block by Ross.
And home field advantage for Boston. They can go home and wait for whoever wins out in Oakland and have John Lester ready for Game 1.
Jake Peavy started tonight with 5 2/3, just 1 earned run allowed. Greg Breslow was outstanding out of the bullpen for Boston. High and tight. Watch Longoria to his back.
This just gets away from him, obviously. You don't want it to get it up there. And
that was close.
If Longoria should reach, then Zobrist would hit, representing the tying run. Here's the 2-2. And a swing and a miss. And the Boston Red Sox are moving on. The Red Sox to the American League Championship Series for the 10th time in their franchise history, as they take care of the Tampa Bay Rays in 4 games. Koji Uehara with a 4-out save and made it look easy.
Just watching Shane Victorino run in from right field and vault onto the crowd gathered there at the mound. I don't think his ribs were bothering him at all.
Adrenaline. Red Sox are 1/3 away from total redemption.
And the ride comes to an end for the Tampa Bay Rays after a 92-win season. Victorino kisses him goodbye here at the Trop. And now the Red Sox headed back to Fenway with John Lester ready to take the ball for Game 1 of the ALCS. Big Papi all smiles at 37 years of age, and he had a fantastic series. Dustin Pedroia drove in 5 runs in the division series. 1 on a double, the other 4 on outs. Taylor setting at the top of the batting order. And John Farrell has his first postseason series win as a big league manager.
It's such a great feeling. Players been together for a long time, wanting their season to extend. And of course, a great feeling right there for a guy who's been unbelievable in the closer's role. Gave up a home run, but came right back and nailed down the save.
And we send it down to Rachel Nichols.
Well, Shane, I know this is not the kind of record you wanted to set, but you set a divisional record for most times hit 4 times. I bet you're feeling no pain right now, though.
You know what, man? It's what it's all about. You know, any way to get on base. I mean, yeah, do I want to get hit? No. But, anyway, whatever it takes. Jacoby and I have done a great job getting on base for the guys behind us. And, that's what we talk about. For me, if you look at past playoffs and, got teams that win World Series, when the 1 and 2 guys are getting on and doing what they need to do, that's how you do it. So, hey, it is what it is, whatever it takes to get on base.
You came to this Red Sox team this season for this kind of moment. How are you guys able to put this together?
Hey, it's great, but we still got 1 more till where we want to be. And, again, we got to get there first, so we just got to take 1 game at a time. Hey, we're going to get a few days off to rest. We'll see what happens in that other, the other division series. series, and we'll go from there.
All right, thank you very much. And let's go to your teammate over here. You have seen so many things with this team over the years, the good times, the bad times. How does it feel to get back to these times?
It feels great. We played a great team over there. It was a hard-fought game. It's more mentally tiring than anything, but it's a fun group of guys.
And Jacoby, this team has, as the season has gone on, has just come together in such a special way. How did that influence the way you guys attack this playoffs and just as you're going through here?
Right. I mean, it takes the pressure off us. We come in, we have a good time, we enjoy, but when it's time to play, we grind down and we're focused. But that makes it so much more enjoyable is the environment that you're in.
And now you wait out Oakland and Detroit. What are you going to be looking at as you watch that last game they have to play while you're sitting around resting?
Definitely. We've already been scouting just see who will play, but those are two great teams, and we just feel very fortunate right now to be moving on.
Excellent. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, back to you guys.
All right, Rachel, thanks. They don't give out MVPs in the series, but Ellsbury is one of them as Uehara finishes it off. And John, the Red Sox are advancing.
They're advancing, and they're in prime position to be the favorites in the next series based on everything they've done in this series.
And for the Tampa Bay Rays, can't say enough about the courage they showed over the last 8 or 9 days, facing elimination 5 different times. It finally caught up with them tonight, but they played great under pressure.
The American League Championship Series, Game 1, Saturday on Fox. They spray the champagne. Red Sox headed to the ALCS. A final score tonight at Game 4, Boston 3, Tampa Bay 1. TBS is your exclusive home for the 2013 NL and AL Division Series and the National League Championship Series. Now stay tuned for the postseason show on TBS presented by Johnny Walker. Remember to drink responsibly. For Jay Cutler, Jim Lynch, Rachel Nichols, Joe Simpson, and John Smoltz, I'm Brian Anderson. Takes so long from St. Pete.